They actually had.
So we used to make money.
Welcome, everybody. We do have two guests tonight. Anthony and Bernie Rotella, our grant writers. If you guys would like to come up, we'll put you on first.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome.
No, I've been here before.
Yeah.
You haven't read the new.
You haven't missed
Yes,
before.
I did. Just a minute about you. This is Anthony. And hi, Jeff, nice to meet you.
Eileen Tori, we met.
Jeff. Hi, Jeff, nice to meet you.
Christine.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much. I got a little bit of an agenda. I thought that might be a good idea to sort of recap and revisit some of the things that we got, the new people we got.
Mhm.
to talk about. We have been the village grant writer for quite a bit, and attached sheet that has the green on it is sort of a list of activities of grants in the village grant writer for quite a bit, and attached sheet that has the green on it is sort of a list of activities of grants that we have worked on, administrated, and closed down. And there's grants that we just recently submitted through the CFA program. The CFA, for those that's not sure, that's the Consolidated Fund Application. It's a portal that the state is using for applications for parks, water, and things like that. So this past summer, we put in a WQIP, which is a water quality improvement grant for the sewer project. And even though we got some funding through Environmental Facilities Corporation for that, that was only a 25% grant, where the WQIP is 75%. So we can leverage both and reduce the cost to the village, especially since the cost of escalated so much. Good opportunity for us, and since we've submitted a couple times already, this application should be in real good shape. Very favorable. We're looking at it favorably. Our fingers crossed and see how it goes.
When do they usually award big announcements?
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
I right now the one that we put in March. First one.
The first one. We got past the first round. And which means if we qualify, then it's up for consideration.
Oh, that's good.
Now, I know that's a really large number on there, so it's most likely we can get all of that. But we said we put in the most amount, which we put in there. So we'll see if they come back for it. Now, just bring this up, just the email attached to that was Judy's email. Yeah, we don't have the ability to change it at this point, so as active as possible.
Yeah.
Because this was not a formal request, like it wasn't done on like an online site, just because there's now we have a project number for it and everything.
Okay.
So,
Great. That's great.
That's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Can you
Even if you
provide?
get a portion, that's a lot.
Yes, it is. It's gonna be a great help. Can you provide the project number
Yeah.
to Sue so she can just search that in the emails if you're searching and trying to check and see if something's in there, narrow it down for her.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how they'll reference.
yes, that's all the one.
Thank you.
Just going down the agenda item, I think that's my, so I don't lose track of some of the things I want to tell you. We finally submitted a reimbursement request with EFC for the sewer, $45,000, but it has been delayed in processing because we never got copies of the invoices and some of the things. And Sue has been great for giving us what we needed. So that went in. And so with that, there's another signature that has to be put on there, which is the Women Minority Business Enterprise signature page for a quarterly report. Now, we've been working pretty tightly with Sue on logging in to the portals, the New York State contract reporting system, grants.gov, all these other portals. It has to be a village employee. It can't be us to open that up and respond. So as part of that process, New York State requests that every municipality has a monitor of the activity for the village, and recommendation is to give that to Susan because passwords need to be changed every 90 days. Quarterly reports that have to be done. We don't do those reports, we don't get our money. Those emails requesting those reports will go to the coordinator, the MWP coordinator. So I would, if you can do a resolution for that, just making to the MWBE coordinator, that should be sufficient, and then we can let the state know that she is here. Then I got some good news. The sewer grant was going to expire at the end of the year. And so we got it to February 24th, 2027.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So
That's the
it gives us-
WIAA one? The
I'm sorry.
WIIA grant?
Yes. Okay. So I know that at one time the village board wanted to break it up into sections. So get in the first section, then get in the second section, but then you know, to get a WQIP grant, financial burden on the village would be tremendous. We've submitted a park grant for repairs in park. We talked about the sewer project. Talked a little bit about the gym. Awarded recently the turnout group project for them, so planning on doing something else, I think, for February for them, and I don't remember. Part of next year. One of the things I would really like to see you, or to talk about, is this planning grant that we spoke about here in county a few months ago. And at the time, we really didn't have a scope of work. You know, why do we need a planning grant? What did we need to do specifically? And Wendy Salvati was part of that process. Worked with CPL at the time with Brian Falcon, and we really accomplished quite a bit. And as new people, I would highly want to get into in those plans, let's say, review the LWRP that's been approved in the process. So this planning grant that we wanted to submit a couple of months ago, we tabled it because we have a project. So I believe that probably in October there'll be another round. And it's, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 grant, no match. So
what is it?
Zoning updates, recreational park master plan for parks, addition to your comp plan. Any other thing that you think you might need?
We're updating our,
Right.
Yeah.
the committee's in place, it's been formed. We're gonna start working with Amherst. We're just back, to the printer and there we go. So this is start sooner than later.
Yeah.
So what would it be, project?
So if we, well, if you're doing this with Amherst and you started the project already,
No,
you haven't started,
No.
You haven't spent any money.
Mhm.
You got a consultant or is the town doing it?
that was the,
We need a consultant.
yeah,
It's up to you.
It's up to us, yeah, or we
if
can
we
do it
can,
with the town.
if we can do it with a grant, if we pay for it with a grant, ultimate way to do it, but,
But let's do that.
Amherst would be involved.
We can put in a joint application, updating the master plans. Again, I'll have to double check to see if we put two municipalities to it, if we can get, $30,000-$40,000 each. Usually, I believe, updating the master plan, like size of Amherst, and depending on what your committee wants to cover, it could be $100,000.
They're working on.
There's
their
a
own.
separate.
They're working on it.
Yeah, they are now our planning department.
Okay, I got you.
We just want them to be,
Involved.
All right,
so
so,
they know the direction.
okay. Then, as soon as that opens, let's talk about it again. Wendy Salvati, who I would probably turn to again, because she's got a very intimate knowledge of all the plans for the village. Maybe we can put together a comprehensive
Do
plan.
you know what portions need to be updated specifically? What sparked this?
Well, considering like pretty much 80% of the dream list was kind of done with Main Street. The areas that we touched on, got touched on there, they'll be will be included. Probably some of the form-based codes, I would imagine, they want to add. And this is up to the committee
Right.
ultimately, but neighborhood design code standards. The LWRP should probably be included in that, incorporated in it. This would tie the whole thing together. So,
Okay, I mean, that alone is for that direction.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent. Okay.
We also need to incorporate, there was a development review law that was passed as part of the LWRP that is a standalone document that's never been integrated. And
Which part wasn't integrated?
the review procedure for properties that are in the waterfront zone. So, that great candidate for that.
That's where definitely that was.
Yeah, and that's right there, you're talking, 40 grand. Speaking of which, I didn't put it on the agenda here, but did you get a contract in from Erie County for the dam project? For the study
FEMA?
Not yet, it's coming
that's coming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's through FEMA.
through FEMA. He said they're delayed. Probably won't hear till October.
All right. cool. When you get
But
that,
we
let
should
me
be good.
know.
Yeah.
We need to go through, what the outcome of the report's gonna be again. Because again, looking at it selfishly, because I want to be able to pull what needs to be done, so we can do it as an implementation grant.
Okay,
And then that implementation grant through FEMA, whatever that study shows, is probably gonna open like in May of next year. So I don't know if this study, get the contract, get it approved, meet all the criteria, hire a vendor.
Mhm.
I think the vendor would be
Gomez and Sullivan.
Gomez and Sullivan, right? So to get that done prior to implementation, so timing wise for that, you got the money for the study for the dam. They gotta do it. Now, whatever they recommend, then we'll have to say, yeah, let's do this or let's do that. Take their recommendations on projects.
As you say, first part of the.
May, I'm gonna say May or June sometime, and it's a real short window.
yeah.
So, like I said earlier, navigating the granting landscape updates, and again, Susan and Anthony have been working on that quite a bit, so I think we are covered at this point. So don't lose anything.
I won't.
And it's really all I really want to talk about tonight, unless you have anything else that you want to discuss as far as the grant process with new people on board, you know, what's involved. And
I wouldn't mind getting into that, but maybe not this evening,
okay,
at some point in time.
that sounds great.
I'd be interested in hearing how the process of who finds what grants are available.
You usually do it project based. There's a million grants out there. And if I were to give you that list, what's gonna qualify, what's gonna match? It's really important for us to know what your CIP list is, your capital improvement project is. Once we know that, we can identify those sources. Like we've been talking about this dam for a couple of
Has
years.
that been provided to you?
Yes. Okay, I did have
Is it up to
some.
date now?
No, I haven't seen an updated CIP list in a while. So I would like to get an updated list. And then in another meeting, go through that list, you know, do we need more sidewalks? Do we need, you know, whatever we need, this way we can identify. Right, but we can identify that. We work closely with Ben on other projects, like the next tree planting grant. When that opens up, we gotta be ready for that. So there's a lot of things off that CIP list that if I don't know, can help. And planning for these grants, you know, you can throw anything at.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that might be like a everything we're thinking about list, and
Mhm,
then, because there may be a grant, for
that's correct.
not always.
It could be anything, it could be a program, you know, for your recreation department. I mean, it could be a
Records
ton of stuff.
management.
Management,
So
yeah.
what would be a good fit?
Well, how often do you do a CIP list with me? Usually it's once a year when you do your budget.
Never
been
been
all
all
10 for years, now, so I don't, and how frequently does,
We would do. Ben, do you
Okay,
still, do you still have the outline for that?
Oh, yeah.
Chance here?
Yep.
An outline was created, and what it was basically a wish list. You come up with, I need a new roof for village. Dollars. When do I need it done?
There you go.
Immediately. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? It's like, once you have that identified, it really helps you come up with your annual budget. And I can give you another column of that list saying, okay, this park grant that would cost you $100,000, or this park project that would cost you like $100,000, we can find a grant for $50,000. And so now you're able to do better money management because you know that there's a source to reduce your costs. And that's why we're so far out in advance of this stuff.
Do you ever,
Did you receive this for anything?
Let me see.
Ben put this together, it's been prepares updates.
don't think you have yet.
Required within the,
I haven't seen this.
village hall.
We didn't know if it was gonna, if there was any interest to proceed with it, but
Oh,
sounds like there is, so
absolutely.
now you got it in your hands.
No, because you did the skinny version and the fat version. The less and the more expensive, remember? You did two different versions. I got two different ones.
The other one's the building envelope study.
Right,
That's for
exactly.
my building.
Right,
not
yeah,
this
Well,
it's not this building.
yeah, but still, I mean, I think they should be
That's
together.
that's not included in
It's not,
No, that's the
But I would-
DPW bill, and this is town, village hall. But,
you can spare this,
thought
but
this
get
was
it
all-
back.
no,
What's your project and your budget? You wanna, you know, if you got a project here to do remove exterior wall vents for $2,700, that's not a grant.
right,
You know, it'll cost you more in paperwork than we
Right.
because to do that. But if you're looking at,
We're looking at a wholesale reorganization of how this facility works. Upgrades to the finishes, to the spatial layout, to the roof, to the HVAC systems, should it be necessary, the windows, accessibility,
And I'm hitting a lot of stuff that I know that you guys would be able to find something.
Absolutely, especially with HVAC stuff, there's a.
NYSERDA.
program still, there's a flex tech program through NYSERDA,
And
so there is quite a bit that
we're
can be
just starting to get deeper into that now. And that's just a program report. Now we're really gonna hammer down on the specifics of it.
So that's where, when you say, do we bring things to the table? Well, that's the way we do it. We're more specific and we're not wasting time.
You can have these two,
You sure?
yeah,
Okay.
we have more copies.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something is easy for you to review and actually make notes so we can move forward with it. Because we're really trying to update this building, be more efficient, they're a big thing. As you know, how old is this building then?
So 50s, 40s? We're some old timers, you know?
64.
There you go.
Careful.
I figured you'd know.
Oh,
Yeah,
So it's going on
but
7.
yeah, we'd really like to concentrate on getting some money to.
All right, I'll review this and then I can let the mayor.
We do have the SAM grant.
yeah.
We're also looking for environmental
Yes,
grants.
yes, I'm sorry,
Because I
yeah.
wanna see solar
Yeah.
panels.
That was
and,
325.
light, everything more, net zero,
Yeah.
where the state is heading to. So we're looking
Hasn't
for
been
environmental
approved.
grants as well.
See, and this is why it's important that we really focus on that stuff. There is a solar panel rebate program, okay, that, 10 years ago, they were paying it off in full. Now they're pulling back and they're only gonna get a portion of it. So if that's something that you really wanna do, and I say 50% match, then you gotta put it in your budget, because obviously you gotta pay for it first. And then we put in for reimbursements. All grants are reimbursement. You gotta spend the money first,
And then
give
you
us a
get
cancel
that.
check and an invoice, we submit for reimbursement, and that's how we do it. So 99.9% of the grants actually.
Spend the money, then you spend the money.
Here's
You're
a-
not going in, not spending the money and hoping.
No.
That's why I look at it, what projects do you have for the next 18 to 24 months? We submit the grant, takes 6 to 9 months to get it approved. Look at this damn grant. We put it in June and you just found out already over a year from the date we submitted.
Mhm.
And then we get the contract, give it to our village attorney.
When we say June, we say June.
Right,
June
a year ago, yeah, we know, yeah.
So there's commitments and financial commitments that you gotta do that. Once everybody is on board with it, it goes back to Albany and we have to. Don't spend a dime on grants until you've got a written executing contract.
One of the other things to consider too, when you're talking about priority projects, is you don't want to compete against yourself. One project compete with itself, so that's why it's important to prioritize also.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Playground and pool is the same grant,
Right.
so that's why sometimes you can't go after, you have to.
Can I interject something there?
Oh, we did apply for a SAM grant through Karen McNabb's office
Okay.
for the tune of about $325.
I understand it's in
And
the
that-
assembly right now.
Yes, and that should cover a significant portion of the work that needs to be done there.
Okay,
So we structured it.
these member line items are all processed, like 99.9% of those two are processed through DASNY.
Yeah.
That's the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York. It's where the controller's office gives the granting agency, DASNY, all the work and say, yeah, we're allocating X amount of dollars for this project. That is a process.
Mhm.
I can always, like when we talk about specific projects, I know it's something within the time frame to do it. But DASNY is just bogged down with so much stuff that it could take months and months and months. I had the Village of Youngstown with a grant, $350,000. They got the letter, they got the contract, they made a little small change to it. 18 years later, we got the money.
18 years.
Well, look, story don't make
It
changes.
is a little behind.
It's a little behind.
What?
Don't make, yeah, the lesson is don't make changes.
Don't make changes.
Make that as simple as you possibly.
Because it goes through a process, and just for, you guys, the member items, they go to the Senate and the Assembly, and then they go through their review process, and depending on how,
Whatever.
Yeah,
it depends on, your affiliation with
I get it.
the money. So
Yeah.
it could be delayed, or it could be put on the bottom of the pile, or it'll be
Or it
tomorrow.
could be extended, get them quickly.
I've seen Disney, turn it around in 3 months, and then 18 years is the record.
Yeah.
But again, we'll work with, that's what I want to say, like, if there's projects that you have to do, okay? You need to determine whether it's grant fundable or not, because if I can't secure that money for you, and you're contingent upon doing it, and you spend a dollar before a contract comes through, you lose that. So it's really important, so.
Yeah,
That's why-
it's a jumping ahead of things
Yeah.
game, yeah.
I think communication and teamwork is where this will be the most successful, okay?
Talk about quarterly.
Yeah.
And that's come in, so I think that's a good idea.
And having that is important. So,
It gives everybody an opportunity and we can discuss where we are with the grants.
Sure.
So,
Right.
that's great.
Any other questions or concerns or anything?
Thank you very much.
We were talking about the DRI, and what is the status on that?
New York forward.
Yeah, New York Board,
Yeah,
same,
we went to the
Yeah, we
smaller
went for
side
this,
of
yeah, the
it.
New York Forward.
and who put that in for you?
We're working on it presently.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. I hope,
Okay,
yeah. But we have been working on it.
okay,
Christina and I and Sue and the others. But, next year, hopefully, it'll be offered again. And, we're just, basically, if you started this year, you can achieve it next year. So it's not a bad
Next
idea
round.
just to get your foot in the door.
did you identify your projects? Because that's what I'm really
Yes,
interested
we did.
in. And,
We'll share those with you.
yes, I would like to
Absolutely.
see that.
Once
We did.
we'll share that with you, because there may be other grants for those.
Yeah, we
Well,
did.
the supporting documents are what really makes it, like your letters from your stakeholders, your public input sessions, so okay.
We just had one of those. So.
And getting excerpts from the LWRP and things like that. So if you got all that stuff covered, then see what happens.
Okay.
You put any money into it? You're gonna put a match into it?
At this time,
Okay.
we'll see where it goes, and then we'll improve on it each year.
Okay.
Is what
Sounds
we'll
That's
plan.
our,
Or
that's
each
our
round.
goal.
So let
The
us,
rounds aren't
well,
always
let
the
us know, because if we can help and, streamline it a little bit better to, I know we had a very short window.
Yeah.
If you really want this kind of money, then you really gotta, like right now, I'm already working on DRIs for next year.
same.
We're using this as a precursor to next
Yeah,
year.
we're
You know,
really
getting
just
our-
using it
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
as,
So we're gonna expand on it throughout the year.
We spoke to the consultant.
Yeah.
With this consultant. And that was the advice. At least submit something.
I'll make sure you guys have everything.
Awesome. Again, anything else you got for me, please call me, email us, whatever you need, if there's a concern or whatever. The more communication we have.
Perfect.
Good luck.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You guys are like the people with experience, now you gotta make these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, you may. We have more copies.
I have them digital too, if you want.
Yeah, if you could send it to me as well.
I've done it a couple of times. All right, guys, have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Nice
guys.
to take care of you.
Yep. I'll talk
Don't
to
forget
you.
to pass that resolution
probably
to
tomorrow.
Matthew, the MWBE.
Okay.
Okay, good. Then, we'll talk to you.
All right.
Take care.
See you.
Thank
Safe travels.
Good night.
we need to do that sooner rather than later, if it's for
Yeah, for
reimbursement for the sewer grant,
WIA.
Yeah, yeah.
so. Would you go off agenda?
We could go off.
You
I'll
could.
go off agenda, can you just draw something? At your leisure. Real quickly, at your leisure.
All right, so what do we?
For, yeah. Correspondence. Great, so grant update, we've got,
Oh, to any meeting from let's.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
did you have anything else on the grant update?
They covered a lot of it. Just there's a new one on there. That's the JCAP one. I'm not sure if we discussed that last time. So that was for judge. The court got it last year. And it just kind of came across my desk last week. So we asked for a 6-month extension. The judge asked for a 6-month extension. That's a very specific list of items that were approved. So we need time to actually buy those items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's the only one there. Due date was just whatever your updates were, and everything else is pretty much the same as last week. You're welcome.
South Lawn, I was, the only thing going on there, you did email back that you have a,
I got one proposal and
Proposal?
I'm waiting for one more. I spoke to.
for a structural engineer.
For structural engineer, said he would get it to me by Friday, but it hasn't come in yet. So as I said, I've got one from Trio, waiting for one from Gisonato.
Okay. All right, so we should have those by the next.
We should.
For sure.
We should.
Very good. Creekview. That is actually, final plan for that, restrap is being reviewed. And he is sending the contract into, prosecutor. Hold on. Ongoing, it's always starting with trustee Hahn, under his, agenda. A review of RFP for comprehensive plan, land use rights. Gonna take that one off because I think we're, after what we've just discussed, we're gonna look at, possibly getting a grant for that once the community, plan committee meets and we start to go in a direction. Hopefully, by next month. And New York Forward update, we did already discuss that. I had a table at the farmer's market and received some public input, put together some visual for that. And end of the week. That's all for me.
Yeah, Asher Crossing wrap-up is moving along. Sort of meeting and we met planning and our planning chair and review
Code enforcement.
code enforcement. And started our review of basically how to go about it to wrap it all up. It's a giant project.
Helping you with at the time.
Code enforcement and the planning, zoning enforcement officer.
Get most of the plans that you needed?
Well, we were spending quite a bit of time trying to make sure we could figure out exactly what was approved and so that Mark and then so the code enforcement over there could enforce what was approved. It's that project was actually approved in 2018. The written approval wasn't sent out until 2020. So things are not quite as clear as would be ideal. But
We just want to make sure that, whatever changes were made, that we're supposed to make it back to the planning department.
right,
Or the planning board did. If that's not the case, there will be issues. But
I
at that point, then we just figure out a way to move forward and wrap it up.
yeah, and one thing that did come up as an aside during all of this, that the village board may want to act on sooner rather than later. It was actually part of this package of zoning code amendments that we really haven't acted on because of a number of different reasons. Not the least of which is the comp plan update. But one of those was to make the code clearer as to that any modifications to an approved plan need to go back to the planning board, or material changes to a site plan. I have that, that language is drafted. If that's something the village board would want to act on sooner rather than later, we could put that as a standalone.
Is that not in the code already?
No, it's never really been in there expressly. We've always taken the position that it's sort of implicit that you need to do that, but there isn't actually not a provision that says, you have to go back to the planning board for modification. We've always sent people back to the planning board for modification.
And that would require a public hearing.
We should, that should
So
be
why-
We should do that.
Yeah.
immediately.
Why don't we also, while we're off agenda, why don't we call for a public hearing for that? Does that sound good?
Yeah, let me just actually pull up, this is where the code, what I was, I'll draft something up.
On your leisure.
I'll do that right now. You wanna have a public, let's see, when is this board's next meeting? I don't think we could have a public hearing at the next meeting. We'll have to go wait until
Yeah.
Meeting after that,
it's,
that would be, let's see,
The 11th, I
the
think.
9th is, Columbus Indigenous Peoples' Day. So our next meeting is the 10th. But that's still too soon?
that's,
We need 10 days
Has to go,
for the public notice?
yes.
well, and the B,
Yeah, the B would have to go in.
it
this
depends what their
week.
schedule is.
Yeah, it'd have to go in by Wednesday if we can get it in. Right, Katie?
We're due Monday morning or Tuesday morning.
Tuesday,
That
tomorrow.
would be tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we could do it by next meeting.
Can we do that?
Can we make that?
Well, yes,
I mean,
to quickly draft up I could do it actually while we're sitting here. I could extract that out and draft a quick local law, but as long as we can do that, we can do that. So we'll just have to go off and do that.
I think we should do that.
Okay, we'll go off agenda for both.
I mean, and I'm not trying to discourage you from doing that. It's not gonna be a big deal because the language. I don't think anything is on the verge of being,
Doesn't matter.
well, you're right. I mean, first of all, there's approved projects out there that somebody may try to make a
Yeah, it
modification.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can do that. I gotta just find
But
it.
can I ask you, are they going back to like, meeting minutes and things?
Yeah, we went back to them. Actually, Kate spent quite a bit of time going back through the minutes, pulling those together. She had a list, and we were trying to determine what plans exactly were the approved drawings. I mean, again, this was before I think everybody here's time, but that approval actually fell in between code enforcement officers for the village. So the town was kind of pinch hitting. I mean, that project went on for a long time. So two, I think, prior code enforcement officers worked on that. Then there was nobody, so we were at a short-term
Right.
agreement with the town, and unfortunately, that's sort of when the approval fell. So it's just, the documentation just gets a little bit messy. But I think we are able to reconstruct it. It's just
a matter of time.
a matter of time. Yeah.
Take time.
So the Amherst folks left the meeting with a thumb drive with what we think are all the approvals. And they were gonna go through those to try to confirm those so that we can have a punch list essentially.
Great.
I mean, we have a punch
Thank you,
list,
Dan.
but we wanna confirm that it's the right punch list.
Well, yeah, gotta move this
That
along.
was, that was an Excedrin moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good though, thank you.
all right.
All right, yeah, let's do both, and let's get that on.
Okay.
That's
That's fine.
It says Main and Garrison property, but the Main and Garrison intersection, which includes that property, which has been sitting vacant for such a long time, but it is such, I mean, it is just that intersection constantly comes up. It's a constant refrain in traffic and safety with the whole thing. What do you do with that, with the, with that little connecting street, the triangle and the whole, I mean, it's just so, it's underdeveloped, obviously. It's one of like, it could be a leading intersection in our village. Sitting dormant, vacant, unused for that long. Something needs to happen there, especially with, it's like, I guess the best way to describe it when it comes to traffic behavior, it's like a no man's land. There's nothing squeezing down the road. There's no geometry to slow people down or make them behave. About the only good thing about it is there's sightline.
What are you
But,
suggesting though?
Well, I mean, a traffic circle would be wonderful there.
Oh, wow.
Some people may not agree with that, but in order to do a traffic circle, there would have to be, eminent domain would have to be involved. And
'Cause it
I don't know
would
if we're ever
encroach on
in,
that
I don't know
property.
if we're in the position to do that, but it's a state road. And I'm just kind of planting the seed there because as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure many others agree with me, enough is enough with that corner. I've been living here for 17 years and it was long cleared out before that. So
25 years.
I'm just planting the seed there.
So is it the state DOT that's the final decision maker on that kind of a project?
Well, yeah, I mean, they would have to approve it or whatever. It's their road. Right.
Main Street
But,
is, but Garrison is ours.
Garrison is, I
Evans
mean,
is
that
county.
whole thing, right? That you look at the traffic problem, the backup problem, those lights that cut through from the northern neighborhoods and the whole issue with the possible signal or whatever it was gonna be at Eagle and Evans. I don't know. Just maybe look at the center of it, in that intersection.
Is it the thought that it would relieve a lot of that through traffic?
It would flow.
Slow it, yeah.
It would never stop flowing.
It would change it.
That's true.
So just something to think about,
How
something
about
to stew over.
pedestrians then?
Well, it's all,
Cause it's walkable.
but the pedestrian traffic control and safety over there, especially on the north side with that added road. The fact bikes are allowed on the sidewalk. All of a sudden you have an extra stop sign that people are supposed to be stopping behind the line. They never do. I'm surprised the bicyclist has never gone up over the hood on that street. Especially with school, the kids coming out and, that starts getting real busy. It's right out your front window. It starts getting real busy, starting at 2:30. And it's a roar until 6:30. So,
And you have the left off Garrison, people turning right and nobody's paying attention, and the left hand person
Yeah.
goes into the right.
so I'm just
Straight lane.
kind of
It's
It's kind of a fed up agenda item for me. And it's a refrain in traffic and safety. It's an issue. And we've got traffic studies with GBNRTC regarding the whole northern end and what to do with the Belmont cut through and what to do with
They never
Eagle and
gave us
Evans and North Ellicott and all that and all the spillover traffic. Let's look at that intersection instead. And let's look at what it would take to rectify that whole thing.
They were supposed to come back with more ideas, remember?
Yeah,
last
but they
time
never
went?
but they were never looking at that. And
Okay.
that's, and I'm not even talking traffic, I'm talking the potential of a major change at that intersection. And that, like I said, would,
But
but
why did-
unfortunately, it would require property acquisition.
I get it, but I think you still should submit it possibly to those gentlemen that we spoke to, and they can do some research in the meantime.
Yeah. We do need to have another meeting. We have to, you and I have to go down there. So I can, I can set that up.
Yeah, let me know when. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
But they got an awful lot done in 17 years. I'm sure.
Yeah, really, yeah.
The sidewalk permit fee, Mark Burke approached me regarding that. Right now, we do not have a set fee for sidewalk permits. They are, Chip, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yep.
what are these? They were using some miscellaneous thing or whatever and applying
Yeah,
a
a
fee to it.
miscellaneous permanent, and they recommended. that
Yeah,
we
so-
actually adopt. this.
Yeah,
So we should
a
adopt one.
fee for sidewalks, because sidewalks are
Required.
sidewalk work does require a permit in the village. We just
But we
don't have
just
this.
have never, we never itemized that as, we never gave it a specific fee.
So it was suggested to me, just for filing and whatever else would be $50 or $75 between the two. So I don't know what, that's what I wanted to get an idea or get a number on that. So I can fill in the blank for my resolution.
So what is it, 50 or 75?
I mean,
Because
I guess I would.
he didn't really, he just said that was his suggestion, somewhere between there, but
Do you know what other municipalities
I don't.
charge?
I was thinking
I would
50 and then
Mhm.
adjust it if needed be.
Yeah, start somewhere. 50 is a good start.
Were
What do you
you
think?
guys okay
50
with
is a
that?
good start?
I think 50.
As long as we're not-
How many permits are we talking here?
Well, I saw one on this week.
A lot, right?
Really?
Should
Bet
be a
you're
lot.
pushing 25,
What's that?
I bet you're pushing 25 or more permits, sidewalks that get replaced every year, or pieces of it, where people are doing driveways or what have you.
Yeah.
We've had a lot.
And then it's just more of a solid file, and then it can be inspected. It's just a better trail.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, people do their own sidewalk work and sometimes it's subpar. And, we need, 5 inches, 6 inches, I don't know, whatever the standards are, but. And then sometimes there's emergency fixes, and I get it. But anyway, okay, so if we're good with 50, then I'll just fill that in.
That would be effective immediately?
Yes,
That's in our resolution already.
they're already assigning a fee to it, and I'm assuming it was 50, at least 50. So, there was trees. Oh, the tree order us for quotes will go out tomorrow. I'll be putting that in Kelsey's hands. It's about 70. Ben and I, we brought up that list for the grant, and then we whittled it back down, and 70 seems to be there'll be of 7 trees going in South Park as well, the playground, and new playground. And I would also like to change the code for the appointment process for the tree board. I don't know why, or maybe I don't know. Does because it's a board, it has to be the mayoral appointment?
No, not for them, but is it, what does the code actually say?
The
about
code
it?
says the mayor makes all appointments for the tree board.
Why is that?
And I don't think that's a good unilateral,
I don't think that's necessary.
That's, I mean, certain things, the mayor generally has the authority to appoint village officials, but tree board members are not.
yeah, and then, but wasn't there, didn't we recently change something with the planning board too or something, with it became board approval or?
Well, it's always said board approval, but frankly, that's not consistent with New York State village
So-
law, but that's,
I mean, this was,
That
the
changed.
tree board was set up, however many,
the statute is from 2003,
yeah,
hasn't,
so it's 20 years.
Yeah.
I personally, we've talked about this, right? And taking away some of those unilateral decisions that could potentially become a political thing and blow something up where it's not.
well, this is not unilateral, this is, it's all members shall be appointed by the mayor subject to approval of the village board, so it's essentially the same as. The only ones that are different are the HPC, and
We do that anyway. We do
Do it
that way
anyway,
anyway.
but the wording just invites.
I don't know, it's up to you guys, but that's
No.
totally
I'm
normal
just running it
language.
by- I'm just
I mean,
running it by
that
everybody.
it doesn't give the mayor unilateral authority to do anything. It's-
Right, it's still-
It has to be approved by the village board.
It's a
No
weird,
matter
that's a
what.
weird layer to me, but anyway.
It just makes it
That's
confusing.
typical, I
We
mean,
had
that
a
is,
discussion with the past mayor, it was confusing, remember?
Right, so just think about it and it doesn't need to, it's been going fine for now, but I just, I do have just a couple quick things. Community plan, update committee, I would like to do. I will, at the volunteer picnic, I will give everybody kind of a warning. I would like to, have an orientation meeting. Either the third week or the fourth week of October. You get the committee in the same room and, really just kind of let, I'll meet with Wally Pacer before he's.
What's your comp plan committee?
Yeah, he's volunteered to be the chair again, so, and see how he wants to do that. And then that gives us a couple weeks to put some type of orientation.
Have you sent out any emails to anybody yet?
I have not.
Because Larry's, you want,
I have to take another hard look at the list. I submitted that when we formed it. It's not in a roster. I have it somewhere in my records. It should be in.
I think you were on it, were you?
Administrator.
You were on it?
Sure.
Yeah, you were, Jeff.
I think you both were actually.
Yeah. Oops.
Yes, I heard about it.
No, you ZBA. I think Jim was
You were
on.
on it, on the comp plan?
Planning board automatically is on it.
Yeah, no matter what, right,
So
right,
it's a whole plan.
but yeah.
The ZBA, I do have, there's a member there that wants to step in. C should be involved as well. They will be involved as well. There'll be representation, so I made sure that was all involved
Okay.
or included. So. And real quick, I don't know what's going on with amplified music and the lack of permitting, but there's an awful lot of amplified music going on, kind of late on like Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'm not sure there's no permits for it, so.
Well, the one we approached and we took care of it. Where else? Yeah, one we did take care of.
Okay,
They vibrated.
Yeah, I don't know which other one.
well, yeah, but part of the reason was part of the reason for amplified music permitting, especially during the week, is to try and to the way I always approached it, and the way just like with music on Main, that's why it cuts off at 9 because, or it goes a little later for some people if they extend it during the summer. But when you're in school time and you're in, and then work cracks down for people during that time, we don't need amplified music that could potentially get loud for someone to have to shut their window or wake them up or whatever, because
I agree.
No, I agree,
um,
absolutely.
so it's,
Maybe some reminders to WBA. And
or just don't
maybe
sign
we
the permits.
Or we don't. Or we have.
Because there are still some going on Thursday nights, you know that, right? Even though Music on Main is over.
And Saturdays too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and then Mondays, I
The
agree.
weekends are a little bit different. Thursday night, nothing should be going past 8:30, 9 o'clock as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion, but.
No,
No, I think
I-
after
I
Music on
agree.
Main, quite frankly, I think that
I
should,
think we need to,
it should stop for Thursdays. I mean, give everyone a reprieve. I like the quiet.
It's
you know?
some, it's something else to think about it, but, something else to chew on, but I seriously think we need to just, like, as we're quote unquote resetting or just kind of regrouping here, this is one of the things that has sort of slipped away, and it's
No, it has to
not,
be
that
discussed,
it's not like it isn't cyclical.
No, it's
It
gotta
has
be.
happened in the past, like all of a sudden, there's just
right,
bands playing.
Right.
Like, 10 o'clock on a Monday, oh, great, where's the permit? I don't know, it doesn't exist, okay, so someone just thought it was okay to do it.
But we have to sit down, as a board and decide if we want to have amplified music. It seems like every single day of the week.
maybe we just.
We just have to-
a
we have to
season,
discuss
make it
that.
more seasonal, all year round, or at your leisure, or anytime you want it.
Or just give it a hard cutoff at 8:30, 9 o'clock during that time. I mean,
9 PM should be the cutoff. At
Latest.
8:30, you're saying on weeknight?
During the state.
well, it depends.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the individual filing. Music on Main was agreed 9 o'clock. In the beginning, and it's just, and
Yeah, no.
miraculously it has stayed there. Although some
Some places. go
spots,
longer.
go a little longer. And then when people start yelling for Freebird at 9:02,
Yeah.
Should be free enough guys.
15 minutes.
Did you want them all to play Freebird at the same time?
I think it would be great.
Gosh, help me.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that. But we need to discuss
Well,
it.
we need to.
Yeah.
We'll visit that.
It's just the thumbing of the nose.
Yeah.
It- it-
Required permitting.
Right.
Our code.
And so we don't even have the ability to like track it, And if somebody calls, or unless one of us hear
Goes
it,
out and here, yeah.
it's like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm sure not everybody's happy about this, so.
Yeah, but I think the number of places that are doing it is probably pretty limited.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, but you know what?
Island.
It depends on where you live. That's the problem. I mean, if I lived on
I'm not talking
Oak
about the
Grove,
effect. I'm just thinking,
I'm thinking of the residents. They're our priority.
well, my guess is that some of them don't know they need to have a permit or.
No, they know.
Maybe.
They could be informed.
No, they
I
don't.
know for a fact that a couple of them know that.
Most of them know. They
So,
do.
then
They've been
they
around
would be
long
a
enough.
little stronger.
Right.
Reprimand.
Right.
Or whatever. Right?
I
You said
just-
you went to one.
Just another thing I'm putting out there.
Would you go to see him? You said you went to one, got him a 20 pound, put the permit.
Oh, no,
I
we
called
just-
the salesman
we
the
just-
next day.
Yeah, made a call and
Provided.
took care of it.
They came in.
But, yeah, it was very loud and they were like, oh, do they have a permit? You know, yeah. Yeah, we know, but whatever. Yeah, but I'd like to discuss it later again,
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because I'd like to know what the other, residents think, especially those who live on Oak Grove and here versus those who live on our side of the street.
Oh, I hear everything on my side, our side of
That's-
the street.
Yeah, well,
There was, the last weekend festival. We got loud and clear, which is, we get it, but at some point it's, holy cow, another Saturday night and I'm on the, and I'm dancing on my back to somebody else's music. So I, I understand. And I think 10 PM PM is way too late, and that's what
No, it's
some of
way
them are
too late,
going to, and it's way too late
During the week.
during the week.
On Monday night.
way too late.
So would this be a topic for public hearing?
No,
It's just an adjustment, you can make adjustments.
we don't have to sign the permits, it's up to the mayor.
Yeah, the code allows the mayor to basically put a whatever reasonable time limit the mayor
Yeah.
so chooses in those permits. So it doesn't require a code amendment and therefore not a public hearing.
You know, it means possible make adjustments.
Sounds good.
Making a phone call before you sign it works wonders.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I would, deep into the weeds, but I would designate whether or not it's amplified or not amplified.
yeah, I mean, right. You know, it could be an acoustic act that doesn't have anything.
And I think the code actually only requires a permit.
That's, yeah.
But if someone's just singing and playing a guitar, that's one thing. You're not gonna hear that 2 blocks away.
No.
You know. I close my storm windows, I get a little upset.
And it's coming from our musicians.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm glad you discussed it. We need to discuss it.
Unless it's a brass band.
Okay.
That's enough for me.
All right, trustee Celeste.
Yeah, I'll jump on the meeting house here. Fairly robust coming up as far as the information that September, we had 13 events, we're looking at 20 for October. Some interesting seminars or presentations. Unnotable booking here is the like county legislator final and the Erie County Personnel Department. They're doing a recruitment on the 10th of October from 12 to 3. So they're doing job recruitment, which I think if we could get that on the website or list it on the calendar.
Okay.
Put it on the
Yeah,
calendar.
Support.
If you can give me some too, or
Like a flyer?
Do you have a flyer or
It's on
something?
her Facebook. She's got a nice flyer
Okay,
on
on
there.
Jeannie's?
I printed it out, but I didn't
I'll
bring it
look.
with me, but it's
I do all the Facebook postings. Yeah. Yep.
but,
I have to.
There are DPW or something?
There's that, you hear?
I'm sorry?
But
All right,
if
I'll
you
just
wanna-
copy and post it in our
if you wanna
Facebook page.
set up a-
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I
Job
get, can I
recruitment.
get a booth there?
Would you want one?
I
If you wanna
guess.
talk about
Yeah.
this.
Is it open to anybody?
You have to ask, you have to ask legislator Vinyl first, because I don't know who she's, what type of job she's promoting here.
For the county.
Hosted by
I'm sorry, what?
personnel, Erie County, so it's county jobs definitely.
Concerns about.
Let's work together.
Right.
And she's using our meeting house.
Yeah.
No, you can ask her. She's,
Yeah.
I don't know
She's great.
if she
Yeah,
and wants that.
unfortunately.
He wouldn't mind
it's not-
There's
There's
some-
a poster, a flyer or something,
Yeah, something.
resumes.
I'm doing that one.
Now,
Yeah.
you were asking about
Projection.
do we have those
Yeah.
projectors and screens?
Yes.
Upstairs, yeah, there's projectors.
There's a projector and there's a screen there.
Pursue Fencer.
And the computer wasn't working. I talked to Doug about that and we've got a replacement in there now. So that's all.
So now they're good?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I
Thank you
got
for
that in
that.
there today.
So does Susan have to learn how to use it? Or is it just,
Well,
Plug
yeah,
and
it should be, I don't know what her media, what is she doing?
well, she's the, Susan, I'm
that-
sorry, we're kind of sharing this.
Yeah,
It's
we-
like 3 different committees. It's the history of Glen Park. And it's a PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah, sure. Put it on a
Yeah,
thumb
shouldn't
drive.
be a problem.
Yeah, it's fine.
And Doug Kern is helping with the setup. So
That's
he
why
would
I
know.
knew the computer wasn't working. So that's now why we have a functional computer.
And we
No,
don't have Wi-Fi.
there's
in
no
there.
internet in that building
No.
Should there be?
yet.
We do have Wi-Fi?
There's none there yet.
No, there's none.
Yes.
Is there a plan?
I guess.
Not at this
There
point.
have been, but nobody wanted to spend the money to do it.
We also
If you
need
want the Wi-Fi,
in our-
$1,200 a month, a year. give or take. I don't know where it's at right now, but we've had quotes multiple times.
1,200 a year, Ben?
$100 a month
$100 a month?
for low band for 100 megabyte. That was 2 years ago, so I don't know where it's at right now, but
Well, the reason I asked.
I certainly think that we should, so that we can control the door access,
I agree with you.
and it's the 21st century.
Oh, yeah, we should have
Like-
Wi-Fi there.
Because then we can expand on who could wanna
And
rent
then
the
we can have
place. Very
cameras.
often they don't wanna rent, because they can't use their computers.
Well, there's a,
You know what I mean, they want Wi-Fi.
That camera is not, that building is not surveilled at all.
Didn't we have a problem with the bandwidth or something for how
Well,
many
this building-
cameras we could have?
This building is at like 100 megabytes, and we're sucking every last bit of that out. We should have a greater bandwidth in this building so that we can handle the 25 camera streams that we got running into it.
Right,
Yeah.
because all our videos are on the same
It's awful.
server,
And
It
that
has
server
to
needs to
be
be
updated.
upgraded.
and we need a separate one for the cameras.
We've also
So
provided the
would
board
the
with
meeting
proposals
house be
for it.
separate, Ben?
Yes,
So that would be through Verizon?
yes.
Can we look into that, Sue?
I can get pricing, sure.
Yeah, I think it's time we do
For
that.
like Groundhog Day.
And, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, but if we,
There's
but I'm thinking,
also-
what if we put this on our, I mean, because I know I've heard it before too, but what if we put it on our wish list? Isn't there, can we get a grant for upgrading our own
Camera systems?
our
Security?
servers?
well,
Yeah.
so.
Adding
There's-
visual servers, cameras.
there's
I
also,
mean,
we
we're
also
doing
have
things.
an opportunity, and I don't know how this ties in, because I'm not a super high-tech person. There's also an opportunity for us to tie into Amherst system, and they're gonna be changing systems and providers soon. Mark Burke mentioned it to me in the meeting that we had. I wanna get, you two in the same
For the
room.
planning
He can
portion.
better
Planning
explain it.
Yeah, for the planning stuff.
That's their like IPS software and their GIS and their workflow process throughout all their departments is gonna be integrated into one system. That we will get a license for, maybe,
Right.
but that's not network expansion.
Like I
Right.
said,
That's just planning data.
I'm not much beyond you, man. I do bolts and nuts. I don't do. Internet cables.
Well, part of their criteria is being able to zoom services.
Oh, did you just hear
When it
that?
comes to
You
our,
have to bring that up.
yeah,
This is news to me, well, recent anyway, as far as the St. John Newman mission was previous tenant for the meeting
They
house
wanna
every
come back,
Sunday. They wanna
remember?
come back.
Right.
Wait,
The
listen.
criteria, part of their criteria is to be able to Zoom the service every Sunday,
Yeah,
because they have parts of their congregation that can't physically make it there.
It's
So
not
that's
like,
part of their decision-making process.
you're making money on the place now.
and you know, and
That's
that's,
every
the-
week.
but that's the same for
We're
lectures.
4 years,
lecture
4 years ago, we
series,
weren't.
Chris, for lecture series, I mean, people have been asking Susan Fenster to do this presentation on Zoom, because they can't get there.
Right.
She goes, I can't do it because I don't have the capabilities. So she's gonna do it at her home 2 days before for those people who can't make it to the event. But again, another reason we need the Wi-Fi, because we can invite more people into our village.
Okay, let's get those
Yep, I'll
numbers
get
as soon as
pricing.
possible and
I'll
let's move
I'll
on
call
that.
them tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's move on that.
Okay,
I've been wanting that for a long time again, so that we can have the door access doesn't have to be programmed on site. It can be done here, it can be done anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't wanna use it.
And the camera.
I've been wondering.
I mean,
I
we've
didn't
got
realize that, though. I had
An
no
historic
idea.
structure that's in the dark.
Just came up
Yeah.
as part of the criteria. So,
Thank you. I consider that direction.
we
Thank
touched on this
we're running with it.
previously.
Yeah, I'm running with it.
Yep.
Some of the maintenance and upkeep over there.
We have a cleaner.
What about paint?
Doug's
That's
group was,
historic, that's different.
'Cause
Well,
it
which paint?
really is-
Inside the meeting house.
needs touch-up.
It needs
Yeah,
touch
we
up.
need- we
Serious
need a little
touch-up.
bit- I mean, the ceiling
There you
does
go.
too.
Well, that's a whole nother-
I wouldn't say I wouldn't go that high, but maybe I'll
The
take-
ceiling.
I'll take care of it.
the ceiling definitely needs to be looked at because was leaking. It damaged the plaster. And
That's
It's sort of been
something
left.
that's for a pro. but
Yeah, we're not doing that.
The,
The paint's there for the group. I mean, Doug Kern Meeting House Committee asked to do the touch-up.
Yeah,
We've got all the matching material.
We have all the historic paints available right there?
Color, yeah, I mean,
we'll go over and look
It's
at
not
it and
paint
see
from
what
1800,
it
but-
is, and if they wanna do it, and I mean, you know, I started this whole mess by painting that hallway, so I don't mind touching it up properly.
the paint's there. Got exact matches from Sherwin and Ed Young's, ready to go.
Let's hope that they don't, you know, be nicer to that building.
Yeah, and I guess the toilet was plugged today, but
Yeah.
I don't know who used it last. No one informed us.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Yeah, it was bingo, it could have been a kid.
yeah, no, it's just, but
toilet was-
Oh,
that's why we go in every week, a couple times to make sure these things, like all the lights were still on, the air conditioning was cranked, and the toilet was plugged.
the air conditioning was on?
Yeah.
See, I got a call at 9:00 on Friday, and thank you for reminding me, sorry for eating up the time, but, we had because it was nice out, and I'm surprised the air conditioning was on.
Yep, it was turned down.
Because the door was
Open
chained
too?
open.
Yep.
Well, we had, you know, when we were first bringing the stuff in, we chained it open. I got a call at 9:00 saying that not on the handle door, but the release door was super hot.
Yeah.
You could barely touch it.
Yeah, I got Imperial Door in there and we've looked at it and it needed lubrication. It needed a little silicone spray to help disengage the magnet. The magnet was stuck open.
So it wasn't because the door was propped open
No.
or anything. I thought maybe that, you know, it was still on because.
No, those are two separate systems.
Okay. But they did that like, what, this week? Or, okay.
It was Friday. No, was it last week?
Oh.
Today's
well,
Monday, right?
If it was last week, it didn't work because I had to wait. Down and then it finally did cool down when the door was shut.
Okay, so I know what you're talking about then. Okay.
I'm thinking
There's
maybe
been a couple issues and again, that door, that's a whole nother conversation to
Yeah.
have, replacement of that whole door.
So if it heats up because the door is propped open, if it's not latched, does that have some?
No.
implication?
No, it's the 3 contact hold open feature.
Because it makes that noise.
Yeah, that's
You ever hear
why
that?
it's doing that.
That's what it is.
Okay. I forgot to bring that up in our
Yeah,
conversation.
when you hear that noise, you gotta close the door, because it just keeps running and running. and-
Well, no, the automatic door, the door holder has an automatic hold open feature.
It does, it's the button on top.
Right.
So you don't have to chain it
So
open.
That
It's a
has
button.
nothing to do with the lock.
That's right.
They are mutually exclusive.
Okay, so the lock is what's heating up.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like,
And that, I noticed that last week as well. And did you notice it this week?
oh yeah,
All right, so then we need to get that addressed.
But you know, Sue, that's one thing, I meant to tell you, is Sue, who rents out the meeting house, if she would explain to everybody with the hold open feature. One day when I was there on a weekend, they were having a cushion in between the doors so it wouldn't shut. And people were tripping over this cushion to get into the meeting house. So I was like, I just happened to be there, so I was like, oh no, I'll show you how to work. So I showed them the button and there the door swung open. So it'd be
Signage.
helpful for everybody who does rent, if we put it on the rental agreement, how
Okay.
to
And
move
maybe
the door
signage.
properly.
Okay.
A little sign inside.
Yeah.
Instructions.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
don't,
Something
Instructional.
laminated inside for
Yeah.
use,
Yeah.
you know, or-
then don't turn it off when you leave, because a lot of times that handicap door opener has been turned off and it doesn't work.
See, all these things have to be explained and be put
And
on,
put on.
yeah,
like a
yeah. Because they don't know how, they don't know, they have no idea.
procedure.
Yeah.
Like-
Operating procedure.
Like the procedure on the thermostat that says don't push hold,
Yeah.
that nobody
Yeah.
cares about,
Yeah.
That too.
yeah, just like
Keep your
that one.
fingers
Just like
off.
that one.
Yeah.
and all the signs.
Hands off.
We can try. We can try.
All right.
But that's also another reason why it would be nice to have remote access into that system, because then you can see, I could see at any point, oh, that door is open right now.
Mhm.
And be able to go in, Sue and I, and disengage that and make it lock.
I have a proposal to do the same for this building as well, so I can control it from afar. But I'll have to get the meeting house worked into that proposal.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry about that. Really just a
Okay.
question, is it contractor trailer overnight parking? Is that on village streets?
Nope. 103.14.
So when they get permits for work, is that in that information?
That I couldn't tell you, but the village code prohibits
Right. That's what I
parking of
thought.
commercial vehicles between one
There
AM and
just seemed to
7
be
AM.
several. It was kind of a surprise, but, several over the past couple of weeks. And it just-
I mean, the only way that can be
abandoned
enforced right
overnight
now
on
is
the- On the side street,
the police department.
on the middle of the street, on the side.
Mhm.
So when you do see something like that, what do we do? Call the APD?
Yeah, that's the only people who enforce the.
Because I've seen
vehicles
it too, as a matter of fact, even landscaping, when they're doing a big job in somebody's house, like
Can
they
we-
just leave it there.
Can we impose a fine if it is?
Yeah, it's
Noted.
a violation of the
There are
code.
$25 fine already, it's in the book. I said you can, it's overnight park, they can't park overnight,
Is that enough?
it's $25 fine.
What about revocation of the permit?
Another
Lots of
adjustment.
$25 fines.
Well,
We do
Revocation,
many.
is the,
if you know.
with the fine, we can adjust that without changing the code, because it's already in the
Well, I
code.
gotta look at the code.
Right.
I don't know. That's in 103. It may be on the ticket. I don't know whether it's in the code.
Fine with Amherst. Fine the ticket.
It's on the ticket, the same code as town of Amherst. Everything's $25 except the fire extinguishers are 70, like fire.
I mean, that may be what was in there, but what our code says is every person convicted of a traffic infraction or a violation of any provision of this chapter, which includes no parking of commercial vehicles on any village street between the hours of 1 AM and 7 AM. For the first conviction thereof, be punished by a fine of not more than $150 or by imprisonment of not more than 15 days, or both such fine and imprisonment.
Let's just
Second-
enforce it.
That's
Ah,
pretty.
yeah, yeah.
So, but it would have to be enforced through the village court. Unless and until we change the code to allow. Code well, this is too. So, it's gonna have to go through village court. But if their ticket says, well, they have to change the ticket.
All right, let's see, but Parks budget, I know the chair of the Parks Committee is looking for some budgetary information, and then we did have.
Oh, that would be Kelsey. She should,
Oh, yeah, I did
Yeah.
get that email.
They're
from her,
asking
yeah.
for just the budget report.
Yeah, we're gonna send that to her.
That's all I have.
Yeah, no
usually
problem.
you request that before your meeting, like a reminder, but usually Kelsey's right on
I
it.
could do,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
all right, sounds good.
Take 5 minutes before the board meeting and we'll come back to work session.
Any thoughts
I
on
don't
that?
want to get started there.
I mean, if you think it's a matter of public safety that would be somehow impaired if it was discussed in public, that is a grounds for going into executive
I
session.
think it is, considering that's a group security, executive session. We talked about that,
No.
just a security issue.
So if you make the motion, it is to go into executive session to discuss a matter that would imperil public safety if disclosed.
Basically, what it boils down to is hurting someone's feelings. No, kidding.
So,
It won't take long, but I talked to him about it.
You can't see it.
Little goofy.
Yeah. Oh, tell me there's another one there. Okay, good.
like to call a meeting to order, the village board meeting, September 25th, 2023, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by trustee Hahn.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Administrator Canal.
Thank you. Mayor Hunt,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Delano.
Here.
Trustee Hahn.
Here.
Trustee Tori.
Here.
Trustee Celeste.
Here.
Okay, Chip Greco. Rico. And Ben Malone.
Here.
I shouldn't laugh.
Okay, thank you. Approval of minutes from the September 11th, 2023 meeting. Everybody should have received these. Yes. Okay, motion to approve the minutes from September 11th, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Public hearings, we have none tonight, so we will move to motion to suspend the rules for public participation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Anybody who'd like to speak, please come up, state your name and whether you're a village resident or not, and you have 3 minutes.
Joe Stelteri, 23 Rhinewell. You know, I've been up before the board in the past about the parking on Rhinewell, and has been done up to this point. And I just wanted to kind of bring you up to date on what I see as a resident on the street, which is just, well, you know, it seemed like about 4 years ago, Dave Shiazza stood right here and he had the TV on with the graphics about what that building was gonna look like. And they first wanted to put a second floor on there, but the people at the tower didn't want their view blocked. In fact, they even talked Iscalo into cutting the trees down so that they could have a better view. And then on top of that, there wasn't enough parking. So the big squabble was, were they gonna have 1 or 2 handicap spots? And I believe they settled on just 1 handicap spot. Okay, nothing was ever mentioned about types of businesses that were gonna go in there, what kind of permits were gonna be required. And the assumption was that square footage and that parking lot was gonna be sufficient to satisfy that square footage, which is not the case. Okay, it's just totally out of control. Saturday is a good example. Actually, Friday would be the best example. 10:30 in the morning, I'm pulling out of my driveway, and the Williamsville street cleaner came down the street, and he couldn't even get near the curb until he got almost all the way down to the end of Rhinewell, because the cars were parked from Main Street all the way down. Okay, from the businesses here, the yoga studio and Amy's Jewelry. Okay, Saturday, Amy's Jewelry decided to have a trunk sale, clothing, whatever. Apparently they sell clothing now. They had a trailer in the parking lot, and nobody could park in the parking lot. I'm sure they told them not to park in the parking lot. And so cars were all over the place, pulling in and out all day long, okay? And speaking of the parking lot, they tell their employees not to park in the parking lot, even though there's plenty of room in the parking lot. And it just creates, the street has just turned into a parking lot from morning until 8, 9 o'clock at night. I don't know what they do in there all day long, all night long. The cars are out there. We can't have our street service. It's a problem in the wintertime because the plows only come down so many times, right, Ben? And I clean my driveway, the cars are out in the street, and then here comes the plow at night and they push all the snow back in my apron. So, you know, just to cut to the chase, the real solution is to not allow parking there at all, at least from Main Street down to School Street. That's the simplest thing.
So your proposal is to disallow people to park on a public street?
No, I'm not saying that, but there's some regulation. There's other examples in the village where there's only 2-hour parking allowed.
Yeah.
For some reason, it seems like at least the former board seemed to be cozy with those businesses there. And so here I am, I'm a resident, and I don't have a say in this. I'll say one more thing too. My property is zone mixed use. If I want to turn my garage into a beauty salon or an accounting office, and I come here before you and I tell you that I'm going to do an addition and put, renovate the thing, and I tell you that I'm going to tell my employees to park in the street, what would you say to that? But yet Dave Shiazza came here, nobody asked him if
3 minutes.
tenants, we're gonna have people
Finish.
park in the street.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I wanna say one more thing, because you mentioned about not parking in the street. The farmer's market on Main Street, on Saturdays, they put cones right here in front of the village hall so people can't park on Main Street. So how are they able to get away with doing that? So it's not.
That's for the fire department.
It's,
That's for the fire
Why don't they do that all the
department.
time then? Why don't they do that all the time, like on a Friday and Saturday night? Why would they do it just for the farmer's market?
I've never seen cones on Main Street. I see them in the parking lot here, and that's because the fire department needs easy access and
The
entry.
cones are there every Saturday.
Where?
They block
Where
off
Jay?
the driveway.
Right in front of the building.
it's for the driveway.
For the fire department, because they can't access the
No, the
parking lot
driveway
as
that,
easily.
where the market's held, that part.
Oh, so people don't get run over? Is that why?
It's just.
So our
Well, the question is, why do they
Ours,
do
we can
it?
get trucks.
Nobody apparently knows why.
Pardon me? Chief?
So our,
Chief
it's so our
Bobo can answer.
volunteers have a place to park so they can grab the trucks and go to calls. That's-
There we go.
Right.
It's
Oh,
a fire
that's
department
a good
issue.
reason.
Well, why
Thank
don't
you.
they do that every day? Why don't they
Because
just do it on a
We
Friday?
can't do it every day. We've made them, we've talked to the people that do the farmer's market, and we asked them politely, can we at least get some spaces? Because, with that lot being taken up by all the vendors, our guys have a little bit of a harder time getting around to our back parking lot to get trucks out, which delays our response. So we asked them to give us some spots in the front during that day so that we can get a fast response.
But I, as a resident, have a difficult time backing out of my driveway with the cars on either side of my apron. It's
Well,
just
that's a separate topic. This is an emergency. If, in the event of an emergency, the volunteer firemen need to be able to park. And if you've ever gone to the farmer's market, there's no parking back there on most Saturdays during the market.
But what on a Friday and
That's
Saturday
the,
night?
the point. There's no farmer's market on a Friday
There's
or
parking
Saturday.
from Wright Smith
night.
and all the bars, so that doesn't make
They
sense.
still have access to the lot. He's speaking from an access point. They still have access from the front and the side to
They
the
can't-
lot
They can't
to
pull
get
in off
in.
the street.
They can't pull it off the street to get in.
It doesn't make sense.
It makes sense from a safety
Okay, and I
standpoint.
have to say one more thing. Village Point put up the no parking signs, really to block out the whole People Incorporated building going up there. And they don't even have a parking problem there. And yet,
That's
That's
Amherst.
the town.
Amherst has,
it doesn't matter though.
it's
It's
separate from the village. We have no authority there.
But they did it there though. So if they can do it there, why can't they do it on Rhinewall? That's
That's
the
a-
question. Why can't they do it on Rhinewall?
We looked into a couple of opportunities on Rhinewall. Deputy Mayor Delano and Trustee
And that's
Torrey.
why I'm here today. We've talked about this for months now, and it's turning into another awning situation like at the Avalos. And the whatever it is. over there.
It went to I believe it went to traffic and safety. Has it gone to traffic and safety?
It has, it was discussed, it died, I'll put it back on the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
That's where we are. It died after all this time.
It didn't die, but it didn't get as far as I wanted it to. The next thing we had to do was we were gonna put out cards notifying the residents of a discussion about this to gain 2 parking spots, switching it over. Yes, does it need a redesign probably up at the top? Yes, it probably does. But, you're at all these meetings, you know what's going on here. There's been quite the change here. And the upset of the apple cart, we are, in the middle of a major reset here. And I get it, parking, they're parking close to your apron and it's a dangerous situation. I don't know how much we're gonna gain there, but we do have to have a conversation with the neighbors. And, this is something that you can go down Park Drive. You can go down Oak Grove now. You can go down many streets now where it's in. If they're blocking your driveway, call the police.
I called the police, and when they come, they said it's not enough for us to do anything about it.
Well,
They can take it.
That's what their explanation was.
If it's blocking your driveway,
It's
they
a
will
narrow
take it.
street to begin with, so buses can't come down whether they're
Right.
down by the corner, or whether they're by my apron.
I'll get this going again.
Well,
We've
It
changed.
really needs to get going again, and I'm
You're
gonna
not
say one
letting me
more
finish,
thing,
but
Mayor,
go ahead.
because Mayor downplayed this when I brought it up before, the new building going up across the street. people are gonna walk across the street, they just are. You downplayed that and said that's not the case, but if you look at Brightsmith and Irishman, every 2 minutes, people are jaywalking across the street to go over to the, down to the Red Mill, to go for extra parking. So that's
If
why.
there's
I brought
no
up
parking
Village
on your
Point.
street now, why would there be any more
That's-
people parking?
What?
You're saying there's no parking on your street now, why would they try and park on your street from across Main Street? I'm not
It's first come,
downplaying it.
first served, so I'm saying to you that they're gonna be looking, you don't know how those buildings, those businesses, you don't know what businesses are gonna be in there yet. So you don't know what kind of activity is gonna be generated.
You mean the Milos?
Yeah,
Yeah, but they have all parking behind
They
their
have a lot of,
building,
they have,
more than enough
they have a
parking.
lot of.
okay, you wanna go on record? I mean, you know that for a fact?
Yeah,
We don't
because I
know
saw
that
the
for a fact.
plans, and they have to have sufficient parking for their tenants and the people who come to their
But
stores.
again, Dave
Absolutely.
Shiaz stood right here, and he looked
I don't
at
know
the
who that
camera
is,
that
but he's
he
not
was set
here,
up,
so
and
we
he
can't
said,
talk
Okay.
about that.
Okay,
we have
please.
more than enough parking.
and we understand exactly what you're saying.
And they
we'll
tell
look
their
into
employees
it.
that they can't park in the lot.
It will be added to the traffic and safety agenda once again, and we'll look into it. We'll continue to research it and look into it and see what we can do. We're not ignoring, it's not falling on deaf ears. We know it's a problem.
And Ben, maybe
We're-
Ben can comment on this, 10:30 in the morning Friday, here comes the village street cleaner, and he couldn't even clean the street because of all the cars.
Thank you.
Just like every other street.
My street hasn't been cleaned in 6
Thank you.
months.
Let's not, we're going in a tangent, off on a
One last thing,
tangent here.
There's a lady that parks her car in front of my house, a Kia Soul, and she puts a club on it. That's how long during the day she parks her car. She puts a club on her steering wheel in the village of Williamsville.
Well, of course,
Well, if
because
you
they're
have Kia,
easily
you-
stolen, that's why.
Probably
People
should
don't own
Recommended
cars.
practice.
15 minutes. I dug out my club.
I have a club on my car, absolutely. People
Thank you.
steal 'em. Anyway.
Hi, Doug Richardson, I live in the village. I'd just like to know an update on Mill Street. About a year ago, this board decided, at that time, the village inspector recommended that a garage be torn down. At that time, the village board decided not to and decided to give them a year. I guess the bank owns it. That garage is, if you look at, there's no back wall, it's falling down. Someone has all their stuff in there. It looks like lungs equipment. What's being done? I mean, it should be cited and knocked down.
It was cited. Where did that go, Chip? Do you know? By chance?
Code enforcement,
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
check.
know.
I'll check.
My guess is it's a zombie.
Right, this is zombie home, that was,
It's, the bank probably hasn't foreclosed. So that, what happens then, it's very difficult to, I mean, you have to ask the Amherst code enforcement.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
Where it was,
what is the address again?
I don't know.
It's right on the.
I don't remember.
But
I can look up who
the last I
current
knew,
owner
the issue
is,
was
but it's not the bank.
whose equipment it was in the garage.
Right, it's a landscape.
And they had to figure that out, I guess. They
Well,
couldn't knock down a garage and have that stuff just out or
But
whatever.
I know it's a neighbor and it's still there. There's still stuff in it. You
The
go by and
neighbor
see
to
it.
the north, they take care of the lawn there, so it's probably his equipment, I'm guessing.
I just want to say, I mean, because that thing's ready to collapse and no one's
Yep.
going inside there.
Enforcement knows it.
Someone getting hurt. It's actually a safety hazard. And the neighbors have, I mean, I know someone who lives there asked me too about it, was behind him. He doesn't want to look at a garage, the walls missing either, and shouldn't have to. All right, thank you for your help.
Thank you,
on
Doug.
that.
Thank you.
Big Roth, 135 Oak Grove. My main purpose of coming here was to comment on a couple of remarks I heard at the September 11th work session. I was unable to stay for the meeting. First was at the conversion of the activity room into a file room, which is just dead space. As I heard Mr. Villanin say a little bit earlier, we're in the 21st century. Those files should be digitized. Later in the work session, I heard about possibly putting forms on the website for people to volunteer, fillable forms, e-signatures, all very, very doable stuff at a reasonable cost. I presume that the village does not employ a director or manager of information technology.
No, we do not.
Okay, so the town of Amherst does, and they have a very robust information technology department. I heard tonight about the DPW building needs Wi-Fi, the meeting house needs who each needs Wi-Fi. Again, all very doable projects. Since we're shifting and moving more and more responsibility away from the village to the town of Amherst, again, that has a very strong, robust technology department. Would it make sense to the building department, the planning department's now being taken over by the town of Amherst, to ask them to submit a RFP to you to manage all the technology in the village, including the Zoom meetings? I don't know if you looked at the Zoom broadcast of these things, where your images are reversed.
I have no-
I think I just fixed it.
It's very spotty. It's very spotty. You can watch on different devices and it stops spooling, it cuts out. It's maddening to try to watch it. Again, Ben's comment, it's the 21st century. You know, files are mass. It's just dead space where bytes are almost ephemeral in nature. And we're living in the digital age. It's time to get out of the 20th century and move to the 21st century. And just to follow, go ahead.
Oh, no, as I found out though tonight in work session, it's two totally different things with the planning department and their record storage, and then our, like the IT with the meetings and the band, whatnot. So the record storage for the planning files, that's first on the list.
Right, it's a Herculean task to convert all paper documents to digital.
And we've been working on that anyway. We're
Right.
still doing it, but as for the room though, it wasn't the which room were you referring?
Well, I thought it was the activity room.
No, the
Oh,
trustees.
This would be
The
part of
old-
the
the trustees.
trustees
Oh, okay.
office.
Yeah,
Well,
part of the
whatever.
reconfiguration
That
there.
space, I heard this building's outdated and you've got to reconfigure space. You don't want to fill space with file cabinets.
Right, but that would have basically turned what needs to happen to the restrooms would make that room basically
Smaller.
useless when it comes to trying to
Right.
squeeze forward trustees' office.
Right.
We're talking about moving that up in front. And then because there is an amount of paper.
There are retention
filings,
rules.
Well, I
retention
understand
rules,
that,
you know.
but the New York State, on the New York State website talks about archival and they talk about
Right.
electronic record storage as well.
And-
I get it. There's a lot of retention issues in that, but we're living in the digital.
Yeah,
We
but
do-
paper does need to be kept for a while, for certain things,
Well, yeah,
Especially
but it's
like
a
planning.
decreasing and diminishing number on an annual
Agreed.
basis.
but, and we're
But it's-
moving
it's-
toward it.
It's something that needs to be invested. And I get it about parking, just to add, I was on the traffic and safety committee for a number of years. I don't know if the village would ever consider, I see this in a lot of communities where parking's an issue, especially in towns that have urban campuses of major universities, that they have resident parking permits in certain neighborhoods. And perhaps that it may be a solution to some of the issues that we experience in several different neighborhoods of the village. I don't know what's involved in that, but you may want to
It
consider
would
that.
require approval by the state legislature.
Thank you. So.
Thank you,
but
Chief.
It is done.
Yeah,
So
no,
It can be done.
But village can't do it on its own.
Okay,
You would
thank
need a
you.
sponsor in the assembly in the Senate.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Sir, I want to share on the, mission of the village. Some general information. Regarding the dam at, is that controlled by, I understand it's under study. I was just wondering, if it's under study by the town or the village, or who's got jurisdiction on it?
We are working on that jointly. The town and the village, we are waiting for a FEMA grant for the study. Current,
So the study's not going on right now?
is the town study?
No, the town is not doing the portion in the village. We are undertaking that effort wholly unto ourselves. As soon as the contract is executed from FEMA, we're waiting for the federal government to give us some paper to sign and send back to them. And we don't know how long that's going to take at this point. We heard mid-October.
Yeah, that's our latest.
We also thought we would know
Estimate.
about this grant in May.
Actually, as you folks have seen in the papers, and a lot of talk about, drinking water and things like that all over the country, including this area. And the county got a $13 million grant to upgrade. I was just wondering if the village is involved in any of that, or the involved on that money, and what the status with our water. Did anybody ever check it out?
The town takes care of the water system.
You're-
County.
The county, I'm sorry, the county takes care of our water system.
They do
So
send out reports
they do.
to all
So
residents.
I would think it would
explaining-
include us
Yeah.
as,
So
As a
that
village.
upgrade, the money they got includes us, because we are in their water system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was a recent report that was sent out to residents.
They send it
They
out.
send to residents too. We get them at least once a year.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
King Village Board members, my name is Thomas Frank. I reside at 5403 Main Street. And I want to thank you for granting me my 3 minutes of public participation at this meeting. And I just want you to know that the Village of Williamsville, Town of Amherst, the LWRP, the Local Waterfront Revitalization Plan, the partnership with between the village and the town. It's a long-term thing that the Greenway watershed floodplain, as far as the central parks and trails, are one of the key design features for the Ellicott Creek and Tonawanda Creek are tributaries connected to the Niagara River Greenway. And that's the 2050 Niagara Power Project relicensing settlement. That this is, believe it or not, the LWRP is connected to that. And all of this, as far as those 500 pages in that document, I'm still reading it, I'm dissecting it as far as what's in there with the contractors that put that thing together, the $4.2 million document for their master plan. That it's as far as what's going on here, the pieces or the components, as far as the walkable village, it's very important as far as the pieces, as far as the climate smart communities, the initiatives that are going to be taken, and what I mentioned about the power project, the relicensing settlement is 2050. So you're talking about a long term, but also you want to get people involved as far as, and this is included in the 500-page LWRP as far as involving the school districts, the Williamsville, the Sweet Home, and the Amherst school districts as far as the economic development applications, as far as the what do they call it, Generation Z is they're going to be taking over. And the other thing that I wanted to mention has to do with the New York, the canal, the New York, the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor, as far as the Heritage Corridor, the connection of the village of Williamsville, that these are two essential long-term features of that plan, namely the, as far as the watershed, but also as far as the history of the village, as far as the quarries, where, as far as the history of the village being connected as far as the cast of characters, this was before the village was even created in
And it was.
1825. That there's
3 minutes.
Last thing that I wanted to mention, it has to do with what
Quick, Tom, please.
Mary Lou Rath put together as far as connecting the pieces, having to do with the tourism, the recreation, and the sports development.
Thank you.
For the Greenway, and the operative term for the Greenway is based on FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, for
Thank you, Tom.
the creation of the East Coast Greenway,
Thank
the
you.
Hudson River Greenway, and the Genesee Valley Greenway is where the Niagara River Greenway came from.
Thank you.
And as far as the contractors, they shut it off at the Niagara Falls Boulevard, and Ellicott and
Right.
Tonawanda Creek are a part of that watershed.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, and it affects the entire built environment. The last thing that I wanted to
Tom.
mention
Tom.
has
This is
to do
the second
with the
last
LIHTC, the transportation and the communications development. They're going to have their annual meeting. As far as the traffic sewer on Main Street,
Thank you, Tom.
as far as you're welcome. I didn't take 4 minutes.
4.5.
Three last things that are bound to happen.
Anybody else, would anybody else like to step up to the podium? If not, I call for closing the participation, public participation.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. So moved. Okay, we move to the village board agenda. Yes.
You want to do?
Call for public
You have
hearing.
that,
It is here.
agenda stuff, you have that.
Yeah.
You have both.
Okay, yeah, I'll pass that one along.
No, it's fine, you can do it both.
He's not a doctor.
Who wrote it? Chip?
Okay. My reports and resolutions. On last Tuesday, the 19th of September, the Arts, Culture, and Diversity Committee had a very nice event at the Mill. It was making memories at the Mill, and it went well, and the weather held out, so that was good. That at this time is my only report. So I move to resolution number 1, resolve the payroll and vouchers in the amount of $148,958.29 covering the period from 8/28/2023 to 9/20/2023 are hereby approved as follows. So written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
My second motion, I make a motion resolved that Carol, I'm gonna, Carol Beck of 143 Avalon Drive, Amherst, is hereby appointed building and zoning clerk at a salary rate of $19 per hour, effective immediately.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. I make a motion to go off agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, make a motion, be it resolved that Susan Cannell is hereby appointed as the Village Women and Minority Business Enterprise Coordinator for the 2023-2024 official village year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. While we are still off agenda, we can stay off agenda. Yes, okay. Okay. So I make a second motion, be it resolved that the village administrator is hereby directed to publish notice of a public hearing to be held October 10th, 2023, to hear all persons interested in commenting on a proposed amendment to Chapter 112 zoning, Section 23, to clarify that any material deviations from any site plan, architectural, or other approval issued by the Planning and Architectural Review Board shall require approval by the Planning or Architectural Review Board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Good.
Okay, motion to return to regular agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Delano, your reports and resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Reports, again, I'd like to thank staff, for their diligent work in our, call it, reset, with staffing, which is fairly evident. We've changed administrators. We just appointed a building clerk, a window building clerk person, and the staff has been very responsive and very upbeat about these changes. So I have Administrator Canal to thank for that, but all the other players involved. There's been a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions about many things with Amherst, and I also thank Attorney Greco in his involvement in that. We're adjusting a lot of things these days, so thank you all. Youth and Rec had another successful bingo night at the meeting house. It was competing with many other school events for Mill and Forest, and everybody decided to have their activity nights on those nights. But he showed up, and it was a fun night. As I mentioned in the work session, the request for quotes for the fall treatment will be submitted. I'm submitting the situation, and they'll be put out this week. 70 to 75 trees in, plus about another maybe 10 in parks. And we'll have another fairly healthy tree planting this fall. So thank you to the tree board. For the resolution I have, and if you look, the amount for the permit fee was left blank because we discussed this in work session. So I will move this as amended. I'm going to add the cost in there. Resolve that sidewalk permits to construct, reconstruct, reset, resurface, or repair any sidewalk in the village shall have a set permit fee of $50 per application.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
And that concludes my reports and resolutions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Delano. Trustee Hahn?
We've had reports, the beautification committee met, they're continuing their efforts and cleanup actions on the 3 gardens. And there's discussion going on as far as what to do with the garden walk. We're talking to the folks from the Amherst, who run the Amherst Garden Walk. The Businessmen Association met. They're preparing for the Halloween festivities that they conduct. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Hahn. Trustee Torrey?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no resolutions tonight. My reports include the Glen Park Joint Board has commissioned a mural artist to paint a mural on the inside of the Knoll Nature Pavilion. Allie Price is the artist. She did the exterior. It's the wildlife scene. Inside, we decided to do more of a historic mural, and it depicts basically, it depicts the Glen during the 1930s through the 70s. So all the performers who came to the casino, including the Smother Brothers, we have on the wall Frank Sinatra, he was at the casino, Sammy Davis Jr. So if you ever swing by the pavilion, the artist is working there presently, and it's fun to watch, and she's doing a great job. And to top that off, we also have an upcoming History of the Williamsville Glen, the Harry Altman Years, presented by our local historian, Susan Fenster, who lives in the village of Williamsville. And she will be documenting the era of and other great events. And this will take place on Thursday, October 19, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Meeting House, and the event is free. So everybody's invited to attend. It's going to be a wonderful documentary of the history of the Williamsville Glen. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Torrey.
It's cute.
Trustee Celeste?
Thank you, Mayor. No resolutions this evening. Report on the meeting house. Again, it's 13 events this September, 20 events scheduled so far for the month of October. One notable event will be taking place on the 10th of October from 12 to 3 p.m., hosted by legislator Gene Vinyl for Erie County and the Erie County Personnel Department for an Erie County jobs recruitment event. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, trustee Celeste. Staff reports? Chip?
Nothing from me.
I'm good.
Ben?
No, not for the board.
Okay, we do have an executive session. Make a motion to go off agenda.
So,
Do you have to
no,
go
not
off
off the
agenda?
agenda, just
Or
motion to
motion
go
to
into executive
Go into
session
executive.
regarding a public safety issue, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
A matter that
Second?
public safety would be impaired if it were discussed publicly.
Okay.
Right.
So motion to discuss a matter that would make would imperil someone's public safety?
That would,
Let me get the wording right on this.
that would imperil the public safety if disclosed publicly. That's a matter that would imperil public safety if disclosed.
Would imperil public safety if disclosed publicly. Okay.
So I'll motion that. Need a second?
Need a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. We'll go to executive session in the conference room, please.
Man, just 'cause it's the building and the that kind of stuff. I think it could be helpful, as you always are. I believe.
So it's not
Right, ready?
Oh, now we're back on agenda,
Work
We're
session.
back in work session.
back in work session, Schnee.
Okay, trustee Han was next.
So, y'all got this?
Yes.
Chip, thank you very
Sure.
much.
Yeah, now, so two things, what you'll note, I mean, I left the height on the MU blank, I just wanted to make sure my notes were correct before I filled it in, was it 38 feet, is that what you were
For the mixed use,
for the MU?
yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing, the things that I highlighted here were the figures, the complexity, in addition to the procedural issues that I mentioned in my transmittal email, the design standards have a lot of figures in them. And a number of those, because the building height was up to 50 feet, have 4-story buildings and other things that is labeled as the sort of thing that the design standards encouraged or allowed. So in addition to just that relatively simple language change, we really need to swap out a number of figures. And that's gonna require somebody who is able to either generate those figures or decide on what figure, because some of them are just photographs, some of them are actually, computer generated. I, for instance, in referencing here is a depiction that was done by the planners. The other just annoying, very practical thing that has to be done on these is because these documents, design standard documents, were prepared, or at least the original one, the MU one, was prepared by a consultant that was hired by the village, Bergman Associates. They, unfortunately, in retrospect, did it in Microsoft Publisher. Nobody uses anymore. The R3M actually was done, I think probably by Clark Patterson. I mean, Brian really sort of did that himself in incorporating. So, but I don't have Publisher. I cannot actually edit these documents myself. Maybe they can over there. I don't know. So, okay. But again, I don't,
You can?
I can change the language. Even if I could do that, I can edit the language. But it's not, I'm not I'm not the one who should be changing the figures that are in here.
No.
So I also, Gary and Dan and I were supposed to try to have a meeting at some point to try to talk about how they may be able to help on that stuff. But that's, and then as I mentioned in my email, again, just because this is a substantive change, unlike the sort of procedural issue that we moved on the public hearing tonight. That's gotta go to planning board for the review of recommendation. It's gotta go to county. It's gotta actually go to the town too. I didn't, not because they're doing work for us, but because under village law, or I'm sorry, general municipal law, because these changes would affect properties that were on the town of Amherst. They're also, they just actually didn't get notice of the public hearing once we started it. But there's just a bit more process involved here. There's also a seeker process to do this. So I think the best first step is probably just to get it on the planning board's agenda. And, then they can make at least a recommendation back to you guys. And then I'll also have to prepare, unless the town does it, that's one of the reasons that I also want to meet with the town, what they can do, or what they're willing to do. Versus, is it cheaper for you guys to have them do it than for me to do it? AF for the secret process, make the referral to the county, sorts of things. and the other thing with the MU, the R3M is pretty straightforward, I think. But the MU gets a little bit complicated. X from Borders Residential District. Maybe I didn't, the way I drafted it, I didn't propose any changes to that. So it would still be a maximum of 30 feet at the maximum setback to a residential district. Then you're really only playing with 8 feet, which maybe is fine. But, you know, I'm not an architect. So I don't know if that sort of step back actually, how that works or doesn't work from a design standpoint. But you got some architects on your planning board.
Right, yeah,
On
I was
that.
gonna say, that's for them to pick apart,
Yeah.
because that was a sticky part of that conversation.
Yeah.
Those setbacks we got hung up on that for.
So what is the essence there, that because we're lowering the height, that the setback would be moved forward?
Not that the setback would necessarily change, but the step back. So
Step,
if
I
you-
meant step.
Yeah, so what the code requires now,
back
because
too.
there was concern, although as enacted, the village, this code allowed the potential to go up as high as 50 feet, but there was always a concern about the fact that our MU district borders on residential district, usually in the rear of those properties. So if you look at figure 55 in the MU design standards, that's what talks about the rear lot transition. So there's a 30-foot minimum setback. And the way the code is written now, you can go up to 30 feet you can't build it all within that setback, obviously, it's setback means. But you can go up to 30 feet. Then because you could go up 50, there was this step back.
Yeah.
Now, whether that continues to make any sense as a practical matter when if you are gonna reduce the total overall height to 38 feet, maybe you probably will first of all only need one step back, not
Yeah.
two. So, you know, those again are just things that planners or architects probably need to chime in on. And again, that's another example. I couldn't do anything with that figure, even if I did it myself.
And just further, I guess, for explanation's sake, one of the examples why that was put in there was the hotel, right?
Oh, yeah, which
right.
predated this code.
Yeah,
that
predated
that
this
was
code.
done.
And then you have houses, two-story houses, and then, you build a 40-foot
Straight up.
building right next to
Right.
it. So
Now,
there
the
either
other
has
thing
to
to
be a
keep in
gap.
mind, though, maybe you don't even need the setback if you're only 38 feet. I mean, you can build a 36-foot tall house in the R2 district, so you're only talking about 2 feet taller than the houses it would back up against, if that's what the village board decides.
But this is all for,
Is there a building that this feature has been a part of? The step back?
Was that ever triggered?
The Milos building doesn't have that? I don't know,
No,
I
they're
saw
way
Milos.
more, they're way more than,
They're very tall, but it seems like
it's
they
tall,
have
but they're
step
way
backs.
back from the boundary, so they didn't,
They didn't need it.
yeah,
the
Because-
Bevilacqua building came close.
yes,
But
but
I-
that was another one, again, cause they had all, there's a big parking lot and those little garages back behind the limestone lofts too. But yeah, it's possible but I can't think of a building that's
I
built that
don't
actually
think
has
it
a
has.
setback.
Everything on Main
Not,
Street.
how about, wait a minute, the one on South Lawn, did that have one? In its drawing? One that isn't built?
Serious?
Oh, the 20 South Lawn?
Yeah,
But that's not adjacent to.
That's not
residential.
adjacent to a residential district.
oh yeah, that's
He
true, yeah,
borders
that's
on
right.
another active
Yeah.
property.
So there
he
isn't
didn't,
one.
he didn't have any,
I don't think there is.
I don't
There
think
isn't
there
one
is.
then, no. Interesting.
But cleaned it up. Gotta clean
yeah,
it
I
up.
mean, the part of the point here is it's difficult to make simple changes in these. I mean,
Very
this went
involved.
through a lengthy process, hired a design professional to come up with these design standards. So they certainly can be changed, but when you do, we gotta make sure we're not creating things that don't work together.
Or loopholes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that simple.
Yeah, and that's that's just the nature of having detailed design standards.
So with the step back issue, is that something that this board could just simply decide? Or should we
Again,
consult the planning?
you need, any changes to the zoning code, you need to
The planning.
let the planning board, you don't have to follow
We
the
have to let them
recommendation.
know.
Thing.
Well, they have to have an opportunity to review and comment, it's just part of the process.
Okay.
And again, just because of the nature of the village and the fact you have a state highway running right through the middle of it, and it's only a square mile, almost any zoning change like this that affects a zoning district that runs the length of the village or that borders a state highway is gonna trigger a county referral, because general municipal law 239M requires anything within a lot of things that occur within 500 feet of a state highway or a municipal boundary or a state or county highway. Actually. So in the village, almost everything triggers
Yes.
that sort of county referral. So that's just another process. They have to, that has to be referred to them. They have 30 days. They're probably not going to comment on it, but statutorily it's required.
Okay,
Um,
well, we can move forward.
Just in general, like what is the timeline for something like this?
If the planning board gave you, if they made a recommendation on their meeting on the
Second,
Second,
next Monday.
next week.
Yeah. Right, Monday's the second. Then if we made, then I mean, we still need to put together, I have to meet with Amherst to see what they're gonna do. So, and I'm trying to have a meeting with them this week, although it's gonna be a remote meeting because I'm gonna be at the town's first week, but, then we'd have to fill out the EAF, part one of the EAF, the seeker process. Then we'd have to refer the draft local law and the EAF to the county. They have 30 days to comment. They don't have to take 30 days. They can turn, but we can't control how long they take, other than they have 30 days. And then we'd need to schedule a public hearing, and that depends on these dates. I mean, I think you're looking sometime in November.
So, but Chip, can this document be sent to the planning board now?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it can be taken to the town as well?
Yeah. I mean, I already sent a copy of it to
Gary Plummer's
Gary
on the email.
and Dan
Gary
and Thomas
responded
anyway. Here's the only response, not substantively, I just sent it to him today.
Oh, okay.
We're just trying to set up a meeting.
Okay, and then can we put this on the agenda for next Monday for planning board?
Mhm.
Please,
On the second?
on the second.
And then speaking of the planning board, if you don't mind,
Mhm.
Kate asked if I could provide a secret training for them. Obviously I can do that, but you would need to approve it for them to get credit for it. You don't have to do that tonight, and that can be done after the fact.
Mhm.
You're not gonna do that on the second though.
Well, I'm gonna have to talk to Kate about that. It depends, because she doesn't otherwise have a whole lot on the agenda, but she doesn't know
Right,
about
because
this.
I know she mentioned it to me, yeah.
Okay,
So,
yeah, we can do it after the fact on the 10th. And they'll get credit if we do it, if you have.
if I do it in the second, or it can wait
If
till
not, it'll
November.
be
I don't
next
think it's it's because there's new members, she
Mhm.
just thought it would be useful.
I think it's important.
And then, sorry, I don't mean to take, are you done? Or is that the only thing?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only, as I already mentioned, 20 South Lawn, I'm just waiting for that other proposal. And once I have, circulate them both. And then we'll just take on,
Okay,
try to get scheduled.
excellent. Sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
before the snow flies.
Yep,
So we know what we're doing.
Yep.
Because it's a January, I have a hard date in my mind, so,
Yeah.
okay, very good. Anything else, trustee Hunt?
Oh,
Um,
real quick, I'm sorry. The beautification committee has a budget, they said, of 3,000 for plantings. And the question, they'd like to get a bench. Can they use any of those funds for?
What type of bench?
I didn't get into all the details.
Because sometimes the DPW may have a bench.
No, probably not like the one that they want.
That's why I said what type of bench.
I mean, they have other lines in their budget, so if a budget transfer had to be made, the appropriate line,
Okay, so a proposal could be made, and
We have lovely benches.
so we can have them submit a proposal for.
But you can get an ugly bench and paint it beautiful, you know that.
I'm sorry,
So you can get an ugly bench and paint it beautiful.
I suppose someone could do that.
That's what we
I think
did
they're
all
looking
over
for
Glen
one
Park.
that doesn't, a low maintenance bench is probably what they're looking for.
I know, whatever.
Ugly bench program.
Yeah.
we got a few.
I can give you a report on what they've spent so far, if that helps.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And one last very quick thing. Ben, it was really nice to see the street cleaners out over the last week. They came down my street, or mine and Eileen's.
Yeah, we got the,
Came down quite well, and the more the merrier as far as the
Trying.
street cleaner goes.
yeah, I mean, I know people say we never get to them, but it's, 32 lane miles
Yeah.
of street, and I can tell you we do it because we just change the brushes on the machine, so
Mm,
we get about a year out of each set, and that's how we find our broken catch basins when the street sweeper falls in them.
mhm.
Worry about my street, because
I can't get to this
cars are
curb anyway.
coming.
Well, that's off hours.
All right. Okay, thank you, trustee Hahn. Trustee Tori.
Okay, before I hit any of these quickly, past trustee Mary Lothar approached me. She was spoken to by a Jolly Boy, and they wanted a request, an update on the swing we wanted, the handicap swing. So Mary says I found 3 different companies that make handicap swings for children. And they all range pretty much anywhere from 700 to 1,000. So I have a packet here, Sue.
Mhm.
And this should go to Basil Piazza
Okay,
and say, basically, it's as requested, here's the information for the handicap swing for South Long Park that they will donate. And I gave them 3 different examples of prices they can select from, so they can choose the one they want to donate to the village park.
okay.
All right? But here, they're all here.
The Jolly Boys are going.
It's the Jolly Boys,
Okay.
attention Basil Piazza, and make sure you say as requested. Here is a follow-up of the handicap swing for the children, blah, 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 blah.
Would we
Okay.
be installing that?
Yeah.
Or was it- Okay, as in
DPW. We just
DPW?
take down one of the other swings, and I look for those that you can just switch out. They're not these elaborate, multi-$1,000 wheelchair type swings. It's just for children who need it back, for their heads, that type of thing.
Like the one we have in Garrison
Where?
Park.
Oh, do we? Is it there? Probably. I haven't been there in ages since my kids are way too old. But I can take a look, but I want to give this to Sue, so that's
Thank you.
important, all right? Because we want to pursue this and get it out. Okay, the dedication ceremony is gonna take place on the same day as the appreciation picnic, at 4:30. And this is the plaque we, have ordered. Everybody take a
Very
look.
nice.
Dan, Carolyn Schlifke. This is what it looks like. It will be on a pole. Ben, so when it arrives on the 11th, we need it installed in front of the pavilion. It'll be on a pole. Because there's no place in the pavilion I could actually hang a plaque. It was impossible.
You need a free.
So it'll be like, the rocks are on the left, somewhere near there, I'd say.
It's coming with the post?
Yes,
It comes with it, yeah.
so it's all attached. All you have to do is put it in the ground. and that should arrive on the 11th, and the dedication ceremony is gonna be on the 13th at 4:30, a half hour before the food is gonna be served. So, Mrs. Schlifke's relatives need to be notified,
Yes,
all right?
emailing Jeff.
Yeah, and this was the, everybody got the invitation for the appreciation picnic? And you all gonna reply? Okay, don't forget, please, thank you
Oh, we
very
have
much.
to reply too?
Pardon me? Yeah, we all have to reply.
Okay.
How many people are coming?
Let Catherine know, yeah.
Village emails or personal?
These were all sent, from the village to personal emails. Every single, person on the
That's everyone,
rosters
Yeah.
and village employees, including the DPW van.
You won't see us there.
No, they
We don't,
never.
we don't like setting up and tearing down for parties.
You don't have to set up tear down, it's for you to come eat.
You won't see our guys here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to have them participate.
Well,
We do a lot in the
They're
village.
not volunteers.
It
Well,
doesn't,
it's
it
employees
says
too.
right
No, it's
here.
I know it does, but I'm telling you right now, don't get your hopes up for the guys to show up after work.
Yeah, that's true too.
Oh,
Okay, but they were invited.
I know. And
Okay,
I'm
and their
just letting you know,
families.
so don't be disappointed when you don't
I
get a
know, and their
response. from them.
families.
And I'm not gonna whip them, so.
Okay, the Glen Park mural is coming along really well. I took this picture, just a few days ago. For you to show everybody, in case you can't make it over there.
Wilmer and the Dukes should be on that.
What's that? Who?
Mention Wilmer and the Dukes.
Oh, well, we had a hard time picking the right people, plus to fit in and to paint them. Look how nice Frank Sinatra looks though in
Yeah,
Sammy
it's
Davis.
great.
Yeah, isn't it great? So this is coming along really, really well, and I was talking to Katie, the bee reporter, and I'd like her to make an interview with both these people and put it in the bee. So talk about the mural and Allie Price and then Susan Fenster and the presentation. So she's gonna do that. In terms of, this total solar eclipse, I don't know what we're gonna do. The town of Amherst, as of now, is doing absolutely nothing.
I think we should plan something.
We should plan something.
Yeah. Island.
Didn't I send you,
Yeah, you
I
said
don't know what that
something,
was,
whoever
though.
wanted to
that's a
participate.
guy that
Wants to
is
partner with us.
coordinating in the city. He's got like a Facebook page or whatever. You have to talk to him.
Okay,
He's so fired up about it. He doesn't think it's-
because Geneseo County is doing an amazing
But
thing.
he's coordinating events across the region because he feels it's.
Well, that's what,
well
I
worth
didn't know what, so I'll get in contact with him.
Yeah.
But
He's a cool
Geneseo
guy.
has a cow they're naming, the cow who has the glasses on, because out in, farmland, you can see the solar eclipse better, because when everything turns dark, usually the lights go on automatically. But places like Geneseo, the Adirondacks is perfect. Letchworth Park, people are kind of going more that direction, but I'd still like to promote it within the village, because there are gonna be people here who are gonna be staying in the village and the hotels and maybe do a nice event. I still say close down Main Street or something,
That'd be a good
That
time
would
to
be
do it.
awesome.
yeah.
Let's
Be a good
work
time to
with
do another
WBA.
Block party.
Yeah, let's
Right,
work
so
with
that's
WBA.
why I think we really should really work on
Jim
this.
and I haven't played the street in a while.
I think that'd be fun.
2024 eclipse party, WBA, let's throw it by
what was the date?
Shut down
It's
Main
the,
the restaurants.
it's April, here it is,
Good day. April
Plan-
8th,
what is it, April 8th?
April 8th.
Yeah, April 8th. But this is what Genesee, it's so cute, see Genesee County doing the eclipse and their cows.
Total eclipse of the
It's so
sun.
cute.
You'll have a meeting that night.
Yeah.
We have a meeting that day?
Yeah, second Monday of the month.
Yeah,
We do?
it's gonna be a Floyd tune.
No, it's a Thursday, I think.
The
Oh,
hard,
that's not the eighth.
right.
Isn't it a Thursday?
Eclipse.
The eighth,
Thursday?
Eclipse.
the eighth is a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
April.
It's like
I mean,
a-
sorry, Monday, you said.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
It's a Monday. not Tuesday.
But it's not in the evening, the eclipse. It's from, it starts at 12 and it ends at 4, something like that. It's not in the evening. But I want everybody to think about this.
Start rehearsing now.
Yeah, something like that. It's,
You're gonna be-
basically, when it hits our area, it'll be like 2 minutes, that's it.
Yeah.
But you have to prepare for it.
Yeah, you're gonna,
I
It's an
mean, I
event.
know some cities are selling T-shirts and glasses, not that we can sell anything, but the WBA needs to do something.
Well,
You know, I used to say it, they could really, I mean,
so get a hold of that guy that was saying that.
I will do that,
Mark
I will do that. I wasn't sure what that was about.
Mark Percy.
And,
Yeah, I definitely will.
The Williamsville North Planetarium operator.
Yeah.
That's him. That's Mark Person.
Oh.
That's him? Oh, he's the one that
Okay.
does the planetarium?
I had a locker next to him for 4 years.
Oh, you know Mark?
I was in high school. Come on. I avoided teachers.
Oh my gosh, okay, good to
Oh, he was
know.
your teacher?
Well, yeah, he was a planetarium guy. You know?
That's why
my
he's so involved in this.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
get it now. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I have. You can do.
It was the best class in
Did anybody even listen?
Yes, we did. I'm looking at the date.
Would you like to?
It's awesome.
Oh, I'm so tired.
Eileen,
I don't wanna be last anymore. What?
would you like
Ooh,
to go
shake it up.
to a WBA meeting with me?
Maybe I should, right? And really play it up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a good presentation.
yeah, I really should do
You would
something.
be a better advocate for it, maybe. than me.
Okay.
Yeah, let's,
It's-
it's gotta be soon
excited.
though.
They're gonna be
It's
it's a huge event.
October.
I mean, the last one, I traveled to Tennessee, and I mean, the roads were packed. There were people from all over
All over.
the world
Yes.
going to see it.
Yeah. So
It's-
we
it's-
could
it's
really
crazy.
make a big deal out of
Yeah,
it.
maybe
That's how he started.
sooner
Yeah.
rather than later, because before you know it, April's here.
Yeah, all right, that sounds good, I'll do that.
Be careful.
Jack, I'll do that. When's your next meeting?
I'll keep you
I
posted.
know, it's-
Okay, when's your next meeting?
Less than
April.
July.
I mean,
I think it's,
October, first week of October?
literally, literally,
Oh, okay.
I think. They were
Third.
last week, so.
Third Wednesday of the month.
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday of the month? Okay, okay, yeah, I'll have something together by then, now that I've spoken to that guy too.
WBA.
Okay, that's it, that's all I have.
Okay.
Did you know a few of them?
Again, department head reports, anything? Maybe we didn't already
I was
touch
gonna
on?
do a post-NICOM recap, but I haven't had the time.
That's okay.
So I will get that done for you.
I guess.
We trust you were there.
Oh, but do touch on the, you were saying something about the early voting.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Governor Hochul signed into effect an early vote by mail.
Yes.
Option. So everybody can get online, request the form. This is a single form. It's annual. It's not permanent. You have to do it every year. And then when we get that form, they can just, they vote by mail. It doesn't replace absentee ballots. It's separate from absentee
Right.
ballots. So people could do either or, but, that is in effect now. I think it's being challenged, but it's in effect.
It is.
It's gonna be
It's gonna
challenged.
be challenged,
So
but right
when it-
now
if
it's.
and when it does become law.
It is in effect.
It is.
Oh, it is in
effect.
effect?
But it
It's being
could,
challenged.
Oh,
it could be
okay.
struck down.
So
maybe the
we should-
junction.
Being that we have a voting body, there will- would it be up to the county to disseminate that information?
Yeah, the county board of elections.
Or
is
do
the
we,
one.
or do we help set along on our website just as a service?
Well, you
or-
could, but I mean, from what I understand how the law works, I mean, it's something you got to do with the board of elections.
Okay.
Request that to fill out whatever work you need to fill out.
Right, I'll have to make sure like we see the
So
form,
we
know
don't
where they
see
can do it
anything.
before I
Yeah,
promote it.
It's all through the board of elections.
And they'll do the advertising and all that.
Okay,
Okay.
that's, I guess I should.
But if they give us stuff, then we can put it.
We need a motion.
And then we can
No.
share the information.
Can I just ask, can I ask one question?
Anything else?
What is this board's commitment to clearing sidewalks in the village? As we have been doing in the past with our equipment, is that something that you want to continue and that I should invest in? Because I'm at a point where I need to, or get off the pot with the sidewalk plow. And it's about $175,000 investment in a machine that gets used for 4 months out of the year.
We have one, we have two.
We have one. We have one really dedicated sidewalk plow. It's the Willie. It's the little articulating loader, or not even a loader, that goes up and down the streets with the V plow or the snow blower. It's approaching 6 years in age. Much more, I'm going to start to depreciate rather significantly on my resale value on it. And if we're going to keep going with this, I'd like to leverage that machine to get a new one, which is a little bit better than the one that we got, because the one that we got is a slightly underpowered. So I have the funds.
Yeah, I'm real torn with that whole thing. You know, honestly, I love it when you come down my street, but I don't ever expect you to do it. So I always do my own. But I love it when you guys do. I find that the businesses, it's their responsibility. And when they start getting pissed off that you're not there quick enough, that really makes me angry.
I would do that too.
You know, so sometimes I'm like, oh my God, we should just forget about it. And other times it's like, but I really do like it when we can use it. So I don't know, I'm torn.
And
Well, here's the thing.
I could do a better job with the next better piece
Generation?
of equipment.
I
Yeah.
get,
Sorry, Dan.
no, I get the whole walkable village thing and everything else, but it's always been a battle.
Yeah.
There are some arguments about, viable arguments from people like, well, I don't have a sidewalk on my street. Why should I be?
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to, right? But, it's not the case, and so it's a viable argument. The businesses, I don't know if the timing is right for this, because it's late in the year, and if we were gonna, just my opinion, if we were gonna have this consider this, it should be considered earlier in the year. Unfortunately, this conversation always comes as winter is creeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get
How
ahead
much-
We should have it as winter is ending. And
of no one wants to talk about it.
well,
Sue,
right.
let's look at the budget.
And
I've got it.
You've got it?
I've got it in CHIPS money.
Okay. Oh,
So let me ask this, is it completely dedicated to, is it only a sidewalk plow?
Yeah, there really aren't a whole lot of other applications. I mean, you can put stump grinders on it. We got stump grinders. You can put lawnmowers on it, but it doesn't get into tight spots like we need to do. I mean, there are alternate and additional attachments, but I haven't seen a really good application in our village for that. And they try to sell it that way. You know, if we had acres and acres and acres and acres of athletic fields, then yeah, I would feel a lot more comfortable having a multi-use machine. It would become a multi-use machine. Right now, and that was my dream when we got it, back when we replaced it, it just never panned out.
So one of the arguments, or one of the cons in all this has always been the damage that it creates, and then the maintenance and the time that we have to put into fixing lawns.
We're better at that. The machine is narrower than the old one that we had beforehand.
So
we
what's
don't-
the talk about, because that has come up, like that.
The scuff, the
Yeah,
scuff mark
that
on
was-
Joel's sidewalk.
yes.
I don't know.
It's a
No,
fluke.
I'm just saying,
That was looked at.
okay,
I mean, and snow plowing, you're always gonna damage something. I don't care how you do it,
Understood.
how you do it.
I guess from the conversations over the last couple of years here, or last one or whatever, again, they came up that it's too wide, that's why it digs up lawns.
No, it digs up lawns because you have an operator who doesn't know exactly where the sidewalk is. And
Right.
fresh snowfall, you don't, it's like, it's here.
Well, you can't see the sidewalk, it's difficult, you know, suddenly the sidewalk takes a turn.
And they try
No, it
to
take
move,
the turn.
and it's uneven, so the
I
machine
know,
kind
very
of does
hard.
this to it.
So
We're better at that than we have been in the past, for sure.
My opinion is, not to interrupt you, Dan,
That's
but
all
you're hesitating for a moment.
yeah.
I'd like to gather your
No,
thoughts.
thanks.
I think it should be done particularly on what I call the central business corridor. And to expect those businesses to do it, they're just, some will and some won't. Just like, it's like the weeds in the median, some clean it out and some of them don't.
Yeah. So, but to that point though, we are now in a different code enforcement era. We have a different tool there.
You're talking about the weeds?
No, I'm talking about plowing. I'm
If
talking about
people
snow
don't take
removal.
care of their sidewalks, they get fined.
If anybody thinks, especially on Main Street, if anybody thinks that they're gonna get away with like, that's the whole argument, right? So the sidewalk plow doesn't get out right away because our crews are taking care of roads and maybe something else that took priority over the sidewalks. And, you know, someone could argue, well, aren't the sidewalks priority in a walkable village? Well, according to the code, you and your shovel are what's supposed to take care of it. You know, the sidewalk plow is a bonus. I never liked the fact that there was a priority list for certain streets, because I would love to not have to snow blow my whole street. You know, me or one of my neighbors always do it. If my street was on a priority list, plenty of people walk their dogs on it. Why wouldn't it be? But somehow.
Is it the school access streets? What is the
Pretty
priority
much.
list?
Yeah, it's Main,
Bus routes.
yeah, Main, Evans,
Mill.
Union, Mill.
Mill,
Mill's a policy document, you know,
Garrison?
it's guidelines.
What's your
Guidelines.
feeling on it?
I would love not to have to do it, honestly. It's a real time suck for us. Although that machine saved our butts during the blizzard because we were able to get down into the alleys. So it's almost like having a nice ace up your sleeve in a major event.
Right.
We were able to cut 12-foot wide paths in 3 passes, and then the street was passable, where I don't know how we would have done it otherwise. So, you know, in that regard,
Just that reason.
I kind of like having it just for that reason.
Right. We need it.
I'm, you know, talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but you know, if we get a heavy wet snow with, you know, when the ground is not frozen, I'm blowing black snow, you know, it's just, you can't help it. I'm doing the edging of your sidewalk for you, because not all the sidewalks are 4 feet wide and so on and so forth. But I mean, I financially, we can afford it. It is an amenity, I guess, for you know, for folks who want to get out on Main Street quick and the businesses aren't maybe open yet. It's 10 o'clock in the morning and the salon hasn't opened yet. You know, they're not out there shoveling. I'm not making excuses for them. I am a little bit. But. So I'd
been
like to go with it.
Yeah, it's been created through that, and you know.
But I think WBH ought to be doing it. I think that they should have a contract with somebody to do the whole of Main Street. That's just my thought. They should
Yeah,
be
especially
hiring
when Charlie comes in here and tells us to,
to clear the snow storage area. It's called the snow storage
so
area.
people can open their
for a
car
reason.
doors.
You know, in that case, then yeah, they should be hiring a private contractor to go up and down and open up the holes in the banks for the doors. You see people doing that. It can be done. We don't do that.
Well, I don't know what the exact percentages are of the businesses located in the village as compared to the businesses who are members of the WBA.
That's another.
But I got the feeling it's a minority are members.
Mhm.
And I think they're sitting with any kind of budget for, you know, the thousands of dollars that it would cost for, I mean,
All of me.
Well,
Overall.
Create a bid.
outside.
Yeah.
business improvement district, you know, where everybody who's on Main Street pays into it. Like,
Well-
what is it called in downtown?
Awful place.
Suffalo Place,
Oh.
the bid? That's bigger questions for you guys.
I'll end this meeting with this thought. I think it's a nice amenity to the village and for the businesses. And with the understanding that we get to it when we get to it, there is no priority just because it's Main Street or, actually the priority would, in my mind, would be the streets that lead to schools, because there's a lot of walking, you know, walking people, kids, teenagers, whatever. That would be the only priority or, you know, hierarchy I would think was important. But as much as I know you don't want to hear it, I think it's a nice amenity. And I think the village, it's one of the things that sets us apart in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
say go for it.
All right, well, I'll continue then investigating what I can get for the new one and what I can do for the old one and what I can do for a new one.
And you say you have somebody who's really good at it now. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
You. You have to, what is that, cross training? Get somebody else on that.
There's a couple guys that are good with it, but, you know. All right, so that at least puts some solace in my mind that there is some support for this, and you know, I'm not going to come out to dry when we show up with a brand new.
No. No,
All right.
you can test it on my street.
We get up and down Elm on a regular basis.
You do.
Yeah.
You know, because mine is an access road to
There's
the
a school.
school.
There's a school. at the
Yes,
bottom.
a lot of kids walk on our street.
There's a school at the end of my street too.
And I,
But you don't have
What's
to worry
yours
about my
called?
street, because my
yours
neighbor's
done by the
down
time we
road.
get there.
What street, what school do you have in the end of your street?
I don't know, there's
Shit.
It's a preschool.
There's,
There's a school at the end of every street.
Mill.
Yep. Preschool.
Mill and
And there's a park.
open
I mean,
door.
in the park.
Oh, open doors, gotcha. Open
Doors
door
right there.
nursery school.
I suppose there's your
That's
argument
true.
right there, right?
The
You
park.
can plow the parks thing, so.
You do have to do the park.
And that's something that I
It's
started.
three more years.
No, you did a nice job there, but a lot of kids go
We'll be
sledding,
having
you know, we need that.
Thank you, everybody. Free to go. Anybody wants to
Thank you.
hang out, go
Free to
ahead.
go at any time.
Free to go at any time you want. Yes, Dan.
I do.
What is it?